to break the ceiling of $3,000, let's focus on what we can do with what we have.
I struggled with this. There's a really simple rule, and we can break it down a bit, but
You have to be everywhere. You should be on Fiverr. You should be on Upwork. You should...
highly disagree with that, but keep going.
How did you position yourself to that client in terms of you're not a video editor?
Yep.
You are YouTube growth specialist?
So I was stupidly honest in a good way. You don't need to pretend you're an expert. Pick your flavor of stress.
More responsibility, but more money.
That's it. I hope I've
Thanks,
left your
Orson.
brain buzzing with where you can take it.
Yeah, I have a lot on my mind right now.
Hey professionals, welcome to the first episode of the Creative Professional Podcast. I'm here with KyrieQHD because he had this unbelievable honesty when we look at his YouTube channel. He was able to show all the struggles and challenges we have with making money as a professional creative, and it's really hard to find that kind of honesty online. One of the things that really caught my eye is how he mentioned that he was feeling like he was hitting the ceiling of making only $3,000 a month, and it was hard to crack over it. And I say only, but that is still an awesome achievement to be doing that as an online editor. So I invited Kyrie to come down and just have a chat because I also was experiencing something very similar a few years ago. And it's not so much to go like, here's how to make more money, but to explore the options of what you can do if you feel like you're hitting the ceiling. So without going too much of a rant, thanks so much for being here, Kyrie.
Thanks, Orson. Thanks for inviting me. I'm very, very happy to be here. Yeah, and I would gladly discuss a lot of things with you. And to be honest, I think I have more questions to you than than you have for me.
Perfect. That's all good. It's a two-way street here because, like, in all honesty as well, that's probably a good way to put it. I'm still learning. I've been in the professional game, so the aim of making videos to make money for about 5 years. While that can be a long time to some people, I still feel like it's quite a short amount of time. So there's a bunch of things I'm learning. But the stuff you were sharing is what I felt like I was going through a lot of as well a few years ago. So that's why we're here. And so then I guess the first thing I wanted to do with this discussion is just talk about what that $3,000 a month ceiling is. What does that feel like? How's it coming up? So can you tell me more about like how you're earning money and where the struggles of getting further and beyond are?
Yeah. So yeah, basically my backstory. I think I started video editing in 2019 or 2020. Yeah, in 2019. It was the first time when I picked, not the first time, but the first time when I seriously picked like Premiere Pro and tried to make a video that I will post. And I created my new YouTube channel. It's not that one that I use right now. Maybe I will mention it somewhere. It's very it's very funny. It's very cringy to look at those videos. So yeah, and I started to do those things, and basically I started video editing because I wanted to become a creator. I didn't start video editing because I wanted to make money from it as a freelance video editor, and that I think that really helped me to learn it faster because it was my interest. I was actually interested in it, and I was not thinking about the money. So yeah, and it was like basically 5 years ago, and I started freelancing right 2022. Yeah, right when the war in my country started. Yeah, I'm from Ukraine, if someone doesn't know.
Well,
So,
that's
yeah,
actually, we'll
and
take a pause right there for a second. I think I'm just going to mention this to the audience. Like, yeah, Kyrie, you're going through the war in Ukraine right now. And I know there's like a lot of different ways we could describe it, and we won't go too deep into it because like it's not really the topic of the thing. But at the same time, I also highly recommend just checking out Kyrie's YouTube channel. He's got a video on his experience with that. There's no point in me telling you what that means or what it's like because I don't know. So check out Kyrie for that sort of stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. It's challenging. Yeah, subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more about the challenges. I don't know. I will probably. I don't want to mention a lot of these things in the video because I feel that it's kind of cheap, like to, oh yeah, I'm so it's so bad life, it's so hard for me, oh war. Yeah, I'm not the only one here in this country and in other countries that have these kind of issues. So yeah, let's focus on what we can do with what we have. Right.
Exactly.
So
that's exactly where we're at.
so basically, your question was, sorry for the sidetracking.
That's good.
$3,000. I would say right away that $3,000 is on paper. It's like when I think, all right, I have two clients currently, my long-term clients that I stayed with, that stayed with me. One of them is paying me like $300 for a video, not like $300 per video, and the other one is paying around $200 per video, and I can make probably one of those videos in 2 days. So if I would count it like that, yeah, that's around 3,000. And why did I say that this is a ceiling for me? Because I cannot imagine myself to stay sane and live life outside go outside just for a bit. I cannot imagine myself doing that and working more. I mean, like, yeah, I can probably I could spend like 12 hours a day near my computer for a month and then just like go insane.
Yeah.
Probably I could. So that's how I could break that ceiling. But I don't think that that is an option. And when I see all those, yeah, that's my, I guess that's my main point at that moment. At this moment, this is my main point of my channel. I don't want my channel to be like whining about, oh, video editing is hard, and if someone tells you $10,000 a month on with video editing, they're just bullshitting you. Maybe that is only my view. Maybe that is my experience. Maybe some people are so great that they, like, in a couple of years they have clients that are paying them $1,000 per video and they make like 10 videos per month for $1,000. I can well,
yeah.
If someone has this, I just share it with me. Just share it. Just like go out, like step out and share it with people and tell us your secrets, because most of the secrets of breaking that ceiling is like do the cold outreach. What else? What else? Like do cold outreach and I don't know.
Yeah.
And learn After Effects.
Right. Yeah.
That is all.
I'll give you
make shorts. Make a lot of shorts.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you a few points on that. So, and just for a bit of context with people like myself, I did break that ceiling. I won't go into exactly what my numbers are now. It's a really weird situation I'm in where I'm talking to the people, but I also sell a lot of my fans' products. And when I start talking about like my numbers now, I'm starting to get people going. Like they don't hear like, here's what I've done, here's how you can do it. They go, here's how much money I've made off you. But I've done those 10K breaks and I've had months, even after doing the 10K breaks, then you'd have months where you're doing nothing and then 6 and 8 and then 20 and you're like, what's going on? But I'll go through a few points on what you said. So, an interesting one you said was like, just coming up with an analogy. And I know it's a made up story, but it's a really good way to like start getting into the reality is like, just let's run through a situation and hypothetically make it real. You said like $1,000 to edit a video. Doable. You can do it. There's when it comes to like how much you can charge someone for the service you do, there's like two kinds of mindsets you're going to get when you find people. So there's price shoppers and then there's people with problems. Price shoppers are people like, I don't care if the quality is like -2% here or -5% there. It changes all over the place. When it comes to people with problems, so for instance, let's just say like, hey, I need a heart transplant. You're not really going to care what the price is. You're going to look for a heart that's going to be the best, basically. Like, and the price becomes much less of a thing, and they're thinking about the problem you're solving. What makes this challenging? And like, let's just say specifically as just a video editor, is there isn't really that many situations where someone's going, oh my God, I have a problem. I need the best editor. It doesn't really come up that often. But it doesn't mean editors can't put themselves in places where they are helping people with problems and then being able to charge more money. Most of the time, there is a bit of price shopping, and there are some factors that will change that as well. So even if the people are shopping on price, that might not be the only thing in the equation. They might also be looking for convenience, communication. Recurring revenue is also a massive part of that as well. So you can still make money when you're with these people. And an easy way to find out where these people are shopping around is Upwork and Fiverr. So if you go on Upwork and Fiverr, no one's going to Upwork and Fiverr going like, hey, I need a heart transplant. But they will go there because like, hey, I need this video edited like someone else at the cheapest rate possible because I think that must be the style that works,
Yeah.
which you hear about a lot, right? Um, but then there's a multiple different ways we could take that conversation. And again, not an expert, just someone who's gone through this stuff recently. So there's like finding ways to, you know, exploring opportunities around what can I do that's solving problems and not just attracting price droppers. There's like what we could do to charge more money as an editor, or even like, you know, create more recurring revenue. Cause I really liked how you said, you know, you had this one client and they're doing, was it $300 a month? Of $300 a
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
And they do that
But
once per month, so it's recurring.
no, it's they have like they have they give me 2 videos per week actually.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. That's probably
So,
like
but
bigger.
also interesting side tracking. We
Mm-hmm.
started with 175,
Mm,
and then once I saw that my videos on their channel they were performing better. They have multiple. They have like 3 editors. So I saw that my videos were performing on
mm-hmm.
average better than the other
Yep.
editors. So I asked to raise my prices
Mm,
to yeah. First we started with 200 from 175. Then I asked to raise it to 250, and they were a little bit. It was a pretty hard, not a hard conversation, but like, all right, let's
yep.
do a test period. Let's see how it
Yep.
goes. And just recently, they just said, we want to pay you 300. You're doing a good job. I'm like, okay,
Awesome.
good for the same job for the same kind of content.
Interesting.
And they are also pretty good on deadlines
Mm,
because I'm very bad at deadlines and very like they just say when you can do this so we could know like the date,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
all. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm actually the position that I am in right now. I'm really happy with it. Like the
Mm,
clients that I have, they are amazing people. That client that
mm,
pays $300 per video, it's the client that has 800,000 subscribers already.
mm.
So yeah, just to understand probably
The
if
context a
it's
bit
just
more.
yeah. So there
Yeah,
are
that makes
different
sense. That's
creators. Some creators with like 100,000 or less can pay you more, but these will be probably businesses. These will not be just creators,
yes.
right?
I can break that down a bit as well. Like, I'm curious what
Yeah,
your understanding of like a business versus a creator is.
that's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, that client also has products and has some courses and stuff like that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
already a business.
Yeah. That's
But at
that's
the
exactly
same
it.
time,
Sorry, you go.
yeah, probably. Yeah, and they also have some people, employees, and stuff like that.
Mm.
But I think from what I can see, like as a business, it's something more complicated. But I know that this is
Mm.
not the correct vision because right now everything is changing, digital economy and stuff like that.
Sort of. A lot of like as much as people like to tout on, and I'm part of the digital economy or the creator universe and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
A lot of the world still hasn't changed. A lot of it won't change. You know, like yeah, like I've been around a few business people from like, you know, people who work on farms to all that sort of stuff. The digital
Mm-hmm.
economy is still actually a very small part. It's come out of nowhere. So it's got this incredible growth and it's fastly growing and there's incredible opportunities on there. A lot of the world hasn't changed. I think that's a bit off the point anyway. But what I was going to talk
Yeah.
about was that business versus creator, you know, like tying it back there a bit. Um, basically the way I put it, and this is a good like thing to talk to with editors, and it's probably something we'll discuss a bit, which is like, is that if you work for someone who's solely a creator, as in their social media profiles is the money making part of the whole operation, there usually is not enough in the pie to pay themselves, let alone you as an editor. That's
Yeah,
the big issue
definitely.
with them. And then, but if they have something that makes them money besides the profiles, then there is plenty of money on the table. And a really good example of this is to, so we'll talk about like, what kind of money these two different types make per view, maybe. And then also, what's your slice of the pie? Right? Let's say
Mm,
you could edit for a creator and you do this edit, it's going to be amazing. And the what are we going to call it? Like the estimate is it's going to get 10,000 views, like that really quickly, 10,000 or even go 100,000
mhm.
views. What number sounds better? We'll just pick a number for
Yeah,
maths.
I already know what you're saying, what you're talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, 100,000, but we should look at the conversion rates and like which
Mm,
kind of video will bring us the right people, the people
mm,
that will
mm.
become
Yeah,
clients eventually.
exactly. Like, yeah, the dollar per view is different. So I guess just for the
Yeah.
people listening, so Kiri's already on top of it. Just to include some of the other editors here who, if you're struggling with the creators not paying you enough, let's just say a creator gets 100,000 views, they're an entertainment channel, we can expect that their CPM or RPM is going to be about like $1 or $2. Let's be generous and give them $2. So if they got a $2 RPM, which means they're getting $2 per thousand views, at 100,000 views they've made $2,000. Wow, incredible. That $2,000 has to get split amongst a lot of people, including the government, because they're going to want to pay some taxes. So,
Hmm.
30% is going to the government. So that's $600 off the 2 grand. Now it's 1,400. Okay. Now the creator, they did the planning, the filming, the ideation, the processes, like a whole bunch.
Hopefully, that's if this is a sorry for the
Yeah.
interruption, but you probably know how many AI automation channels and everything is out there where the client just send you AI voiceover that
Oh,
and the script was written in ChatGPT and you can hear this, and then they make a voiceover in the other AI tool, and then you send the audio and they say, can you make me a video? Like, all right, so any assets, anything, any footage, any, no, just need a video.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, cool. Let's park that. There's two conversations here. Let's
Sorry.
go through
Yeah.
both. No, you're good. I like it. That's a really funny one. Like, let's go through two. Like, yeah, okay. And then on top of this, right, like maybe it is just an AI person. So even if it was an AI video, right? How much does the owner of that channel take versus then how much does the other people take? So there's they probably did some investment, but I won't digress there. There's a lot of slices of the pie there. And with the editor, it can range very dramatically depending on the video and how much of the work was just you versus other people. So if it's like a talking head video, it's a much smaller percentage because the editor's not doing as much work. But by the way, talking heads usually pay better than all those other ones we're talking about. But we'll
Yeah.
get there in a second. Like so, talking head usually the editor is a smaller percentage. If you're doing those crazy animated, like full animations every 3 seconds, like retention hacking style videos, as they like to call
Yeah.
them, you're doing 90% of the heavy lifting. And in saying that, that video also makes the least. So those retention hacking videos usually have the like dog shit CPMs, just if I'm putting it
Yeah.
blunt, especially if they're shorts. So, and I was talking long form before, so $2 per thousand views. If you go into shorts, I'd
Yeah,
have to look up the
it's
numbers. I haven't looked
sense.
up in, yeah, it's sense. When I looked it up 6 months ago, what I can remember was about 60 times less. So put an
60.
ad on the equivalent niche in a short form was 60 times cheaper. But the main point goes is like for the people listening, if 200,000, 100,000 views on an entertainment channel, let's just call it $2,000. There are many businesses who will put a video up on YouTube. It'll get anywhere from like 200 to 15,000 views or even less. Like usually they hover around that 2,000 view mark. And from that, they're making from what I've seen, the best record I've seen is for 2,000 views, $16,000. Well, I got to convert that from AED to USD. So
Damn.
it's
You're
about
talking only.
$11,000.
Are you
$11,000
talking
USD.
about ad revenue or just
No,
just
no, from product
like?
sales. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So
you go.
if you're if you're an editor, basically you have to see if your client just relies on the ad revenue or your client has like
More revenue.
some business, some products.
Yeah.
But and of course, yeah, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But if you're a beginner editor and
Mm-hmm.
you're just finding your new clients, you're building your portfolio, you don't really choose in the beginning. And it's just luck and positioning yourself. Like, where are you? What is your portfolio? What are the videos that you're specializing in?
Can you
For
tell me
example,
about some experiences you
yeah.
have with that?
Yeah. So my first client was from Upwork, and this is the client. This is my second client that I'm working with right now, long term. He was they he. It's like a couple, a couple. Yeah, it's the client about endurance sports and hydration and nutrition. They're pretty. They're like PhDs, and they're pretty smart. You can say that. And actually, uh, so when you find a client on a specific topic and you're their editor, you will inevitably become like kind of or interested or knowledgeable in that topic. so so basically, one of my clients is endurance sports people, and the other client is a sex coach. So that's my life. Sex and sports. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
So
can agree with that. Like, just on a side note, and then we'll talk about those first client experiences.
yeah.
When I like, I do a lot of video editing for property professionals, and now that is becoming something a part of my life. Like, we're actually looking into that kind of avenues now. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, it is nice. Like, one of the, I guess, ways you get paid without getting paid is you do get to like see inside the worlds of some different people. Like, and the things I learned, like, well, there was stuff you learned from what they did on the camera, and then there were
Mm-hmm.
conversations I got to hear between the camera takes that were incredible. But that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't being an editor, that
Yeah.
was being the producer. I digress. Tell me about your first client.
Yeah. So they were just looking for an editor on
Mhm.
Upwork, and Upwork is a very, in my opinion, bad platform because you
Yep.
have to pay to apply to jobs. You have to use those connects.
Oh.
So, and I was applying, and you have to buy them because you will run out
Mm.
of them if you wouldn't. Yeah.
Mm.
So you have to pay, pay to win. And
That's, I think I can understand why they've also done that from the client side. So I am someone who's hired through Upwork. I did make sure to like, make sure I'm not being one of those sleazy clients. Um, And the one thing I will say is whenever I put a job application out, immediately in a day I had like 28 applications and it didn't slow down every day. Bump, 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 bump. And I'm like, oh,
mm-hmm,
okay. A lot of people to sort through, which is good for me, terrible for editors. So Upwork, terrible to
yeah,
get a job, great to find talent.
yeah. And I was applying on, I set myself a goal
Mhm.
that right when the war started, I made a portfolio, like introduction video from the videos that I did for my old YouTube channel. So it
Mm.
was easy for me. I didn't have to find any footage, anything. I just found
Mhm.
the best parts that I have edited already, compiled them, put some music, put some voiceover, some transitions, some stuff. That is all. Put that introduction video on Upwork, on Fiverr, and started applying 5 jobs per day on
Mm.
Upwork. So it took me 1 week to get a response from that client. And the what I was looking for is for like real person job description. Like it's a person that is looking for someone. It's not a company kind of description. And
Mm.
we need the best editor, or we need the best editor that will always be on time and that will always we want to do
Mm.
part-time full-time $10 per week. I don't know. Like people who are putting those companies or people, I don't know, who are making those job proposals, not proposals, like job like applications.
Job search. It's like a what do they call it? Job application, a job opportunity or something. Whatever. Go on. We'll move on. The thing.
So yeah, people who are putting those job opportunities, jobs, they you can see if it's a person who wrote this job, like the description, or it's just a company who or not a company. It's just like, I don't know. It's soulless, and I was picking, like, if I saw something interesting, I was using more of those connects on the job to rank myself higher. And that guy, I saw his job opportunity, and I put I decided that I want to be the first one on his list. Like, and I just went all in. I gave away like half of my connects on the job,
Oh
and
wow.
that worked. That worked. He reached out to me. We tried to do a test video, and that video immediately, right away, like they had like 300 views, 500 views, and that video got like 1.8K right away, and they left me a very long review on my Upwork profile, and I still, by this day, I have only one review, which is like, I don't know, it's like a chapter from the book or something. They're very kind. That's
Oh,
crazy.
that's awesome. That's lovely.
So yeah, and right, and yeah, and immediately they had a lot of work. So I was sustaining my life only from that client, and they basically saved me when the war started. I didn't have any job, and I wasn't all in on the video editing, and found that client. And from that moment, I didn't look for more clients on Upwork, because I had so much job from them that I tried to. I was not as good as a video editor, so I tried to improve myself, and I learned while editing. And they also said, if you're learning something while doing your job, count the hours in while you're learning. So they were very kind in this way. And they also eventually, when we didn't have electricity a lot of times, they bought me a laptop.
Oh wow.
Like,
So
yeah,
really like you're really lucky with getting that like ideal dream client. That's
yes,
awesome. That's
yes,
that's that's
yes.
really lucky. That's really awesome. I'll tell you what, I had a client, my first client, and I will say this, like, not um what's the word I'm looking for here? They're not meaning to be bad, but they were, in a sense, like a little sociopathic with the emotional manipulations. So like it's funny how we could have
Mm-hmm.
such different experiences. And what happened with me was like, and it's funny, I learned about this later, but like when I say sociopathic, people think like, oh, they're gonna like beat you down, make you feel like you're worthless, like you can't, like you should be doing better. Nope, that's just an asshole. When I talk about like a sociopath, what I'm saying is these people, they'll like, if they see like you're faltering because you're overworked, they'll know what to say to make you believe in yourself to go that step further. And
Mm-hmm.
I fell into that
Mm-hmm.
trap hard. Like little things like, dude, you're so creative, you can figure this out. I've seen you do it before. Like little things like that. That's my new red flag now. And I just say, look, if someone's telling you what you're
Yeah.
capable of, that's my new red flag for like the ultimate red flag. And usually when they do that, the first thing I do is I double and a half my price. So, oh, you wanted a $2,000 package? Sorry, I misspoke. It's 5,000. So I'll be like, and so that way, if they do say yes, I'll
Yeah.
still be happy. And saying that's like, it's just, yeah, interesting how we can have like different client experiences, but I'm really glad. So you just were able to spot that these were good people, good humans. And you're like, I want to,
Yes.
I want to work for them.
Yeah, and I just, yeah. Looking
Mm,
back, I noticed that in their job proposal,
mm,
job post,
yeah.
and I noticed that, and I felt. And also,
Mm.
I was interested in running, in like endurance stuff, and I also I was also trying to pick clients that were doing the stuff that I'm kind of interested in, or familiar with,
Yep.
like nutrition, hydration, like
That's
running.
a really important thing to do. And
Yeah.
I think picking something you're interested in, even like when I was going through the process of hiring my first editor, I know I was only editing YouTube videos by that point. So I knew it was like, to me, I didn't have as a full requirement, but I do now. And like, you know, and I'm really lucky that person I found was interested in YouTube. But one of the things I do now, if I'm looking for an editor for YouTube, is I'll go, who is your favorite YouTubers? Because if someone watches YouTube all the time, they'll immediately
Mm.
go, like, they'll just say 1, 2, 3, like Marquez Brownlee, Ali Abdal, Orson Lord. But so they'll do those three things, right? And so if they can't answer that quickly, or not like in a timely manner, you go, okay, you probably don't watch enough YouTube. And like I noticed that consuming the content or the culture around whatever the subject is, it allows you to make more nuanced decisions as an editor. So if
Mm-hmm.
you, yeah, so if when you're working on jobs, you don't need to be in the world, but if you do like the world, you will definitely be able to bring more nuances to the edit. And that way that translates is usually you just get less notes. You know, when you go for the revisions, there's less notes because you understand exactly what something's supposed to be without having to spell exactly
Yes.
everything out on the brief. That's a massive factor because not only is it less work for you, it's actually way less work for the client because, you know, for a client's experience with an editor, I send you the footage, here's the brief. Let's just say that's going to take an hour to do. You get the video back, and if every time there's a bunch of comments, it can add like a whole extra hour to them just communicating with you. So all of a sudden, again, hypothetical numbers, but you've just doubled their work to work with you.
Yeah, and you also will make a better work. So, for
Mm,
example, I did not need an explanation on like sodium levels or what is maltodextrin or like
mm,
all those,
mm,
I don't know, explaining pacing and
mm,
like all that stuff that I was already interested in. It was just easy. And when, for example, it's a talking head video and I have to emphasize something and I have to put
mm.
some like table board and just write some text, I know what I'm talking about. I don't
Yep.
have to Google it every time and learn
Mm,
about the subject. And if I'm Googling and learning about the subject, I'm interested in it. I'm
yep.
Googling it also for myself. That I have to just, I don't know, like put some sugar and water, sugar and salt in my water while I'm running a marathon, and it will make me feel much better than buying some expensive like these hydration products. And that's their
Uh,
whole point.
it's
That's their whole channel's mission, by the way.
Kyrie, are you trying to
And
start a
yeah,
war
that
with
is,
Prime on the first episode of my podcast?
of course, I started the war with them. Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, they are hating on Prime so much, that client. That's crazy.
That's great.
They're
Okay,
just
awesome. And that's actually probably a big part as well. Actually, this is something really worth talking about as well, just like to nail it in home. Because there's something I was talking with like someone who's a pretty big veteran, like they make enough money, could have retired ages ago, but they don't because they would get bored. I was talking to them and they said, like,
yeah.
you don't, this isn't something you're gonna need to actively search for. It's just gonna happen, but you will align yourself with clients who share the same values. And that's probably one of the biggest selling propositions to people looking to hire editors or whatever talents it may be, is they will, at least a lot of the good ones, they will look for people that share the same values. It won't explicitly be spoken, but it'll be the little things like, oh yeah, we're a running channel. Oh, I love running. It's like, oh, I hate Prime. Oh yeah, salt sugar is way better. Like those small little moments in conversation build a much stronger connection. And even just to a point as well, like most people, so right, or like actually everyone, I should say, makes most
Mm-hmm.
of their decisions with emotion. Only 1 to 5% of our decisions are actually done with logic
Yeah.
and the forward part of our thinking. So by having that valuable connection with them, it does bring a stronger emotional connection. So if they're comparing you against someone else, they could look at the price, but they could also look at the connection like, oh, this person's half the price, but like, yeah, they don't understand us. This is just going to be much easier for us. They a lot of the times they will go for that. Even when I was hiring my first editor, one of my strongest values is like I'm really not into lying to most capacities, like unless it's like life or death or you're hiding a birthday present. But like most of the times that I don't really see a reason for lying ever. And the best editor I've ever hired, and the one that we've definitely got like the best working relationship with, and actually the one editing this video right now, the way I chose this editor is I was like, hey, I'm looking for a YouTube editor. I was sending this message like, looks like the perfect person. Like, can you edit YouTube videos? Blah, 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 blah. First response back was like, hey there, I don't know if I can actually do that. And I was like, that was such a strong level of honesty. I was like, I don't give a fuck what your skill level is. I'm hiring you now. I'll just train you up. Because at the end of the day, and this you'll see this with a lot of people who are looking to hire people. It's a bit different because I am an editor. But when a lot of people are looking to hire people, they know that skills are trainable, attitude isn't. Attitude, values, whatever you want to say. So a lot of the times, a lot of them, they will just look for the person they gel with over just the skills. The caveat to that is if that person doesn't have any editing experience, they will pick the person with editing experience. So it depends on who you're picking. But just an interesting thing from the people that hire perspective.
I would also say that one of the most, like, my approach to talk to clients
Mm,
when I'm talking to clients is like, I'm right away, I'm going in with, I will not work for you, I'm working with you. So I'm
mm,
referring to the project as, I will help you with the project. I want to help you with the project. I want to work with you. Let's make this whole thing together and stuff like that. I don't know if it actually helps, to be honest, but it's just my stance because I don't want to. It's like looking back at what I said about Upwork
mm-hmm,
job posts, where they're like, we want to hire an editor, and yeah, we need it. We need a very good editor that does everything on time, and it's like you can feel that they will abuse you. You can feel it
mm-hmm,
from that post that they want just to squeeze every piece of you to make it's like a full-time office job. They want you to do it like that, like to make revisions if it's 1 a.m. at your country or something. They want you to do it like that. And I'm
mm,
right away, no, we if you hire me and we work long term, we are building something together, and I am
mm,
like, I have interest in building this thing with you. Like, I'm invested in it, and I'm letting the client know about that. So yeah, and I think actually, yeah, that
I'll give you my opinion on that because you said something at
yeah.
the beginning. Does it actually help? Yes and no, depending on who. So right now in Upwork and Fiverr, I don't think so. Like actually, I'll say this: it's really helped because just like I'd say, my editor would probably share the same experience that you had. It's really nice having one really solid client giving you recurring work. Like it's life changing in the sense that it gives you something that emotionally feels good. There's some level of stability and income. So if you don't get a job next week, you're like, okay, well, we're not completely bleeding money. It's a huge relief. So you do get like a massive benefit in terms of finding like having a much better life. And I'll even say on top of that, if some editors go like, look, I just got to say yes to whoever gives me the job. Um, Working with terrible clients, and I'm just going to call it like just social diet, right? Like you will become the people around you. And
Mm-hmm.
you might not like, and I don't mean like you're going to become an asshole because you work with assholes, but you will like without fail, you cannot avoid it. You will change your standards to that. Like
You
this
will
is what the
become
client life is like.
bitter for life.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I think.
exactly.
Yeah.
100%. That's exactly it. Now, in saying that, like with price shoppers, at the end of the day, what ultimately matters is the price. They know they can shop around. When I put out an application, I'm going to get 28 applications. So, and if they're averaging price, and I'm just making numbers up here, but let's just say they're all saying $100 for the edit. And then I come to you and we really gel. Like, this is good. This guy's amazing. This is incredible. And then you come up with $300. And I'm going to be like, okay, we need to make sure this project's profitable. All these people over here, and by the way, these are just simple numbers. These aren't actual numbers I'm recommending editors take. I know someone's going to comment like, "Who's sending up?" I know. Um, that person will, if especially if they're price shopping around, they're going to look. At the end of the day, all we need is the job to get done right. This isn't life or death. Great. I will take that editor at $100 that I gelled with the best, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I'll be priced out of that one. In saying that, I was talking about problems versus price shop. Like there's two shoppers. There's price shoppers and people with problems.
Yep.
People with problems, that makes all the difference. Like, and it like they'll still have a budget, but that budget's very flexible depending on who they find. So that is so yeah, when we start like talking about exploring like different ways to position yourself or what you could be doing to do that, we'll get more deeper into like, how those value conversations work. And there's a easy rule for that too.
Yeah,
Like a maths
before
equation I
that,
use. Yeah.
before that, I wanted to mention that. So if this whole thing that we are working on this project together, and if this will not work for me to get hired, that is okay for me, because I will be spending a lot of time with that person, with that client, and I'm just filtering them with that thing. But I have the opportunity right now to filter those clients, because from the past half a year, each client that reached out to me, almost everyone, like I just said nope, no, sorry,
Yep.
no. Like
Yep.
I want to do I don't know, 10 shorts, $100. I'm
How did
sorry.
you yeah, no, totally get like 10 shorts, $100, no thank you. How did you find the ability or the courage or the whatever it is to be able to say no to clients?
The courage. I mean, what I said about you will get bitter for life when you why I decided to do freelance video editing, because I hate the office environment so much that I would rather, like, I don't know, be broke and try to
Or
find a way
or
than
turn your bedroom into the office even, right? Like just not the office.
that's what I did. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the office where I wake up whenever I want. It's where I don't have to think, oh, tomorrow I have to check in that place. Why? Because they said so, and they control my, like, 70% of my life. I'm spending time somewhere, giving away my time to some business, to some person, and not and like they are. It's like basically a modern slavery. That's, like, of course I'm exaggerating, but that is my feeling and my point of view, because when I worked in the in like in some companies before, like as a digital marketer, I was doing Facebook ads, I was doing like e-commerce, and um I love that you can talk to people out there. There's some socializing. You become friends because you have it's like university or school. You have a common enemy, your boss. Usually,
Yeah,
that's
right.
how
Gotcha.
you become friends.
Sounds like you didn't have
So
some very good bosses. It's interesting that, but yeah, you're like, actually, what? I do get that because I do see a lot of people going through that where they, go like, if I want to make good money, I got to go to the office, and it's just a soul sucking job where, and even especially if that office job is involving something where the customers at the end of the day aren't getting real good value, and it, but they don't. It all sucks away your soul really quickly, and so it's like,
yeah,
yeah, we want to avoid that. So we want to have more control over where we take our life, which is actually, when I think about it,
definitely.
that is very similar to what I did as well. I was like, I just want to have control over where I get to take my life, right? So you decide to get into the, and I guess it says a freelancer. Would you call yourself an entrepreneur?
No, I am, for now I'm a freelancer. When I will have some
Mhm.
digital products, that's when I will become an entrepreneur. I guess I can call myself a digital product, but it's like a service. But I mean, like,
No,
I'm a
actually, that is
service guy.
true. YouTube videos are a digital product in a sense, if we look at them from a business sense, right? Like I say, there's assets or service based income. Service based income relies heavily on your time. Assets does not. It doesn't mean that it's like the extreme, like it's only your time being sold or it's only the assets being sold, but it's like, how much of your time does it take to make the money is the question to ask.
You know
Um,
what? Sorry, is that so? I
there you go.
will be able to call myself an entrepreneur when I will have when my income will not completely be dependent on the time that I spend, like when it's scalable,
Uh,
basically.
I think that's the wrong definition. I think you should be calling yourself an entrepreneur now. I think calling yourself a freelancer is the trap, actually.
Hmm.
And let's get a little woo woo with it, right? Like,
No, no,
I think,
I like this. I like this because
yeah.
changing how it works here, like, the power of
Mm.
words and stuff.
Yeah,
I
exactly. The
like it.
way we talk about ourselves, describe ourselves dramatically changes who we are. And so one of the big things I'll say is calling yourself a freelancer is a trap. At least call yourself a business, right? And even if you're just a solo employee business, I did that very early on. and it changed things. So just for a few little context things, right? So when you call yourself a freelancer, people expect you do the work, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
I go hire KyrieQH or Kyrie on Upwork to do the editing, I expect Kyrie to do the editing for a few reasons, but the main one being turnaround times. Like, like, hey, I get you this edit, we get it done
I'm
back, it
not the
comes back
right
quick.
guy for this.
No, no, exactly. Well, businesses are slower than, like, trust me, businesses are much slower than that, but they also do things very differently.
Yeah.
I think the only reason you should be calling yourself a freelancer is it is easier to get a job. Not those jobs will be absolute shit. It is easier to get a job as a freelancer. So if you need some experience, it is good, but I think people should really listen to what Kiri did with how you really vetted the customers. It is much better to be being an Uber driver or working at a fast food chain than working for a bad client, because one, you'll make more money. Even if you go to all the sorts of places, you'll still make more money than working for a bad client. And two, you'll have more energy, so you can at least then work on upskilling yourself. Working for a bad client means you make less money, use more energy, and you learn bad habits. So I think the way you started that as a freelancer is really good. I think you are well beyond the point where you should start calling yourself something else, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's a business. Um,
You know, yeah, I want to, yeah, I can, I don't know if it's a transition, but to the other topic, like
mm,
if I'm calling myself freelancer or even a video editor,
yeah.
I am basically, in terms of scalability of my income, if I'm a video editor, I'm leaving myself only one way, like to learn video editing deeper and
Yeah.
better, to learn more effects. If I'm calling myself an on business and
Mhm.
entrepreneur, that means that I have to, I can like not go deeper into video editing, but expand
Mm,
myself as what kind of services can I provide? Like, yeah,
mm.
I understand. Like, yeah, later we will
Yeah.
get to that
Yeah,
in
we'll get
terms
to that,
of,
but I think
yeah.
that's perfectly exactly it, right? Like, and just calling yourself a business, even if it's just to yourself and to the clients you currently work with as well, it's a massive start in the right direction. And I think the big issue with the freelancers, and this is why you experience the ceiling of revenue, is because yeah, you call yourself a freelancer. There are industries where being a freelancer can work really well, and they're few and far. But at the end of the day, in the video world, being a freelance editor is a terrible position to be in.
Hmm,
I think it's much better to become an employee. Look, if you just want a video edit, become an employee, because then you're going to
yeah.
get full-time work, paid well, do that. Freelancing can be the way to get there, but you definitely don't want to be there. Such a trap. Well, actually, you know what? I do need to take a step back as well, because even as I say that out loud, I had that trap, you had that trap, but I do know a couple people where freelancing for them was good. But they did very specific things as well, where they identified freelancing roles that paid well. So the ones that come to mind
Mm-hmm.
is I can think of a color gradist. So Frenchie color grading is incredible. I don't know what her business or her numbers are or anything like that, but you can see that
Mm-hmm.
she's picked and chosen to become a color gradist for these commercials, for car commercials, drink commercials, where, yeah, getting that green means the difference between selling 1,000 cans or 10,000 cans of whatever it may be.
But at the same time, I think the like the peak of
Mm,
freelance career is to actually get on a retainer. It's to actually get some long-term clients and be an
yep,
employee for multiple clients. That
yep.
is like you like switching clients every time. It's not we always think about, oh yeah, freelance video editing, I
Mm,
have to find a lot of clients. I have to always
yep.
find new clients. But the actual goal of this whole thing is to not do that, because finding clients is like a different job. It's like it takes even more time than the video
Mm.
editing itself, to be honest.
Yes,
And
and they
when
don't
you
pay you
get
for it
those
because they
long,
don't value it.
yeah, and it's all
Yep.
test video. Let's make a test video. Let's make a test. And if someone makes a test video for free, goodbye. I'm out.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I had a person who was like, "Oh, I need to like make a test video for." I'm like, "Yeah, I have a lot of work, and I
Mm.
cannot afford myself to lose time. If I'm losing time, I'm losing money. Sorry for that." So, yeah, no free test videos.
And like, there would have to be a very big project with a knowledge that I know how many people they're committing with to. Like, so, if I'm going, okay, I'm doing a test video, how many other people are applying to this job? What budget are
Mm-hmm.
you looking to achieve with this? Right. And like, I'm going to need to see a lot of boxes ticked to go like, okay, 20% chance I get the job. Is this worth my time? Consider it the marketing budget. But at the same time, you're not going to see that kind of client on Upwork and Fiverr
Yeah.
99.9% of the time.
Yes, definitely.
And I think, we've mentioned this so many times, maybe it's worth talking about getting off Fiverr and Upwork.
Yeah.
Like, is
I
that something you've been thinking about doing or figured out ways to do it? Because like, it's honestly, it's something that I don't use Fiverr or Upwork, but I still struggle to find clients every now and then. But
so the thing, yeah, with me,
yeah.
the
Hmm.
problem for me is that I didn't have that much struggle in finding these long-term clients.
Hmm.
That's great, but at the same
Hmm.
time, it's kind of sad because I cannot share some experience and some findings. So, in terms of working on the platform, I got
Hmm.
out from those after one order. I know it's illegal. They will ban me. I don't know. I don't
Who
give a shit,
cares?
to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and because, yeah, who wants to pay 20%?
Yeah,
And,
exactly. So yeah, I'll say this,
oh,
like, it is definitely annoying to pay the 20%. Well, yes, 20% on your side. Oh, that's right, because it's Fiverr. That's right. They take a
yeah,
huge cut. They take a huge
yeah.
cut of your shit.
But at the same time, they protect you from the scammer, so you have to be careful to like work off that platform with the client that
Mm.
you work with. Like if you are not sure in them, I would suggest
Mhm.
just stay a little bit longer if you do multiple orders and stuff.
Interest.
But
Okay, I'll give 2 points on that. Let's hold that there for a second because I think that's where a lot of people could be struggling to get off Fiverr and Upwork. And as someone who comes from like a proper first world country where we got like really high minimum wages, I don't know what this is like, but it'll be
mhm,
worth exploring because I do know one little perspective which can help understand why it could be so hard to jump. One of the biggest risks with hiring someone who's from overseas or in a different country is you pay them the money and they run away. That's why they pay so much extra for someone locally, is just because like I can chase you down. If I pay you X thousands of dollars, like $10,000, I know that if he doesn't deliver the job, I can go to the courts, get a thing, and take him to court and get my money back. Probably lose more money in the court proceedings, but hey, I burned two bridges.
yeah,
When you go to Upwork and Fiverr, like at least you get that protection to a degree as well. So, the idea being is like they will hold the money until you both give them the thumbs up, like, yep, the job's done, happy. Then the money gets handed over. And if there's a disagreement either way, they'll take a look at the case and go and determine if the job was done. I'm curious because I don't know if that's true. Fiverr really doesn't side with the people delivering the services or the assets or whatever. I hear a lot of the times that Fiverr, like if a client complains like the job wasn't delivered, and you look at the job and it was really delivered well, they'll still give it back to the client. I have heard horror stories and I heard Upwork had better protection, but again, it's anecdotal evidence.
yeah. I never had experience. All the clients
Okay.
liked my work,
Yeah.
like my
So how did you
like
get
my work.
clients? How'd you get clients after that?
Basically, I did not. I mean,
Yeah.
all the clients that came for me, that they also some from time to time, someone writes me on Fiverr, texts me. I haven't updated my introduction video, my portfolio, anything since the beginning. From time to
Yeah.
time, someone texts me, and I'm like, we can try, or no, it's not.
Mm,
We won't fit. I'm sorry.
yeah.
And yeah, that is all. But I have some opinions about cold outreach and about the stuff, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So people are like most questions that I have in the comments on my channel are about building your portfolio and
Hmm.
where you get your first clients.
Mm,
So yeah, I'm saying that first of all, you have to be everywhere. I
hmm.
mean, like you should be on Fiverr, you should be on Upwork, you should update, like you should work on your profile description. You should work
Highly disagree
on.
with that, but keep going.
All right, all right, wait, wait. So you should be also on LinkedIn. because
Mm.
there are a lot of businesses on LinkedIn that are
Yep.
like, I have notifications every day from LinkedIn that someone is searching for a video editor. If you're a beginner
Yeah.
video editor, you don't have a lot of options. Yeah, of course, you shouldn't like take the
Mm.
worst jobs, but like the jobs that I had on Fiverr and the pay that I got from it, like I had some live streams, like 2-3 hour
Mm.
live streams, and I had to make a 10-minute cut from it for $80.
Mm.
And yep, that was my, and I was going all in. I was adding all the memes, all the effects, all the zoom ins, like for, and first of all, try to cut 2 hour footage into 10 minutes. That's fucking, I was, and I'm like spending 3 days, 3 full days on a video that I already know I will get $80 minus 20%.
It all trickles down, and then don't forget, operating expenses. Like, what's the cost of your computers? When do you have to replace it? How often do you have to
Oh
replace
yeah,
it? How much from that job?
that's
Like
a
it all,
completely different. How much?
like
Counting how much did my computer cost into that operate? No, no, no. Just like I need $80 and I need to make this video. That is all. That is
yeah.
all the options that I have currently. So
Mm.
I'm doing this and I'm doing the best job I can
Yeah.
with this. You are struggling through it. You're updating your portfolio. You're just on the side. I was
Mm.
doing YouTube videos while doing that.
Yeah.
And eventually, yeah, I got, while doing the best job that I can, not just doing the work, I improved myself. So my next clients were better and better, and I could deliver even better job and I could raise my prices higher while working on a shitty project, while
Mm.
doing
Yeah.
cheap work. I was still trying to do the best because I am interested in video editing. I was interested in like creating the
Mm.
best thing that I possibly can for me or for some clients. We will transition that later. That right now, when it's just a job, long-term job, you lose this kind of passion, and that's a whole different other problem. So,
Yeah.
but that's later. Now, and cold outreach right now. It's the hot topic, like finding clients on Twitter or somewhere. I think that is a great idea,
Mm-hmm.
but you should not expect a lot from it. But at the same time, it will help you not to lose the passion. So, what do a lot of people suggest? Find a creator that you would love to edit for
Mm-hmm.
and make a video for them, free video. Edit their live stream or
Yeah.
edit their video in a different way. Send it to them. If they will
Yep.
not respond to you, don't set any expectations. If they will not respond to you, you have plus one good video in your portfolio.
Mm.
Do it again and again and again, and you will have a lot of great videos in your portfolio. And that will
Mm.
eventually help. If you will try to do a better job every time, if you will learn new things, apply new effects,
Yeah.
like try to improve the pacing, try to like just learn new things, just do it with passion.
Yeah.
You will get into a better place because your portfolio will have something. So yeah, and I guess
It
the
it can definitely work.
persistence.
So the cold outreach can definitely work. I, full disclaimer, never did it. I nearly did it at
Mhm.
one point, but then I got busy and I didn't need to do it. But cold outreach can definitely work.
Mhm.
It's there is a lot of nuances to how you do cold outreach. So just to even give you an idea, like let's say, okay, I'm going to become a YouTube specialist. So the way I did it personally is I didn't target creators. I just straight up targeted businesses. I was like, oh, I'll make a YouTube channel, do that. And that worked pretty well. And I usually did that through mutual connections because I had connections to a lot of people who worked in the property industry. Because basically in Australia, you always know someone who works in the property industry. And I was like,
Mhm.
hey, I've got this theory. Can I show it to some people? Um, but cold outreaching to creators can definitely work. The big question I would ask is, well, the big thing I'm going to say is be very next to impossible to get a job with those big creators. You can definitely still try if you wanted to like
Yeah.
maximize your chances on getting a job and like getting like a foot in the industry. I would be figuring out the maths behind how much money are they making and at what point do they start by hiring editors, right? So if they go,
Mhm.
okay, I have a YouTube channel, at how much money do they hire an editor? Usually an editor is one of the first things a lot of them will hire because it's one, like really time consuming and relatively like you can hire someone at a pretty good rate and to get that time back. So it's usually one of the first things that they always end up buying. The question is just, yeah, how do you identify when they're at that stage? How many subscribers would they have on average? Do they have a product for sale? Or are you going to go to the creator route or are you going to target the business route? Like there's two options there and they're two different styles. Creator is cool. Business will pay you more.
I also think that yeah. I also think that find the creators that you can see that they are not using an editor. You should not try to apply to a guy who already has an established editor. Even you can see
You
that
could.
there is an editor. You could, but
You could.
chances
I
are
so
that even
I'll
if you are better, they will not fire that editor if they worked with that editor for a long time.
well,
Chances are.
absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I will say there is don't assume they don't. They don't assume they do have an editor. I like so just being on YouTube long enough now, I'm starting to like get to talk with a lot of creators behind the scene. A lot of them I thought like, yeah, they probably got an editor. Nope, they just do it all themselves and they're just damn passionate enough to do a good job. And it was really impressive
Mm.
to see. Those are really good ones to get as well because if like it looks like they have an editor, but they don't have an editor, then that's probably going to be someone who's good to work with because they know what they want. The big challenge for them, and maybe this can become the value prop for it, is they're going to go, hey, I don't want to hire an editor. And this is usually what happens when they're good at it, but they don't hire someone in that time, is they go, because I have a very particular taste and style and I can't get it
Yeah.
wrong. And so if you wanted to jump into them and go, okay, could we try doing things so I can read your mind? Like that's how I would say it. Like, don't go like, oh, I'll figure it out. Just like, can we just see if I can try read your mind? If I can try a few things, do these. And there's some ways you can do that because I had that issue as well. And so this could be how you pitch it to the creators. When I'm hiring editors, there are specific processes and ways I want to have a video edited like, do these things for these reasons. The
Mm-hmm.
easiest solution I found to get that across was I recorded myself editing the client's videos and just narrating what my thoughts were. And then the first
Mm-hmm.
video my editor edited was that video. She edited that into a training video. And it did two things. One, if it didn't work out, I could onboard someone quicker. But two, it just got them to understand how I thought and think. And I just started with very simple steps. So like the first stage was good takes, bad takes. That's all you do. You sort the good takes from the bad takes. Once you're good at that, now you do
Yeah.
assembly. And we like built it up over time. Um, Obviously, if you've got experience, you can do better. Yeah, you could do that. We're going on a little bit of a rant there, but like that's a good one to do. You can cold outreach to creators. If you're going to do that, look at when they hire an editor. Look at also too, again, big rule here, like, and you know this now as well, like, hire a creator that's fueling a business, not a creator that is the business. And the simple question that is, do they sell products or whatever? Because when they do, generally speaking, in creator worlds, the AdSense only is about somewhere between 1% to 5%. Or if I had to put that in a different terminology, generally speaking, when you start selling products or whatever, or doing sponsorships, you're usually doing something between, it's like 20 to 100 times your revenue, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
if a creator's
Yeah,
making
yeah, yeah.
$100 ad revenue, they're going to now all of a sudden be making, is it 20,000 or $2,000 ad revenue? I'm not doing maths on the top of my head very well, but
Yeah,
you get the
yeah.
idea. Like the slice
I'm
of the
not even trying. Yeah.
yeah, that slice of the pie is just so massive. Did you? Oh, I guess I have a question. Like, are you curious about where you want to go with these things? Like, with like, do you want to work for a business or a creator? Because I know you're editing right now, but you're contemplating like, well, do something more in the YouTube space directly?
Yeah. So my plan
Mm-hmm.
is to eventually leave video editing, is
Mm-hmm.
to become a person who hires and editors myself, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time I will know what to do. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's why I'm creating YouTube. That's why I'm doing all sorts of things. But as I said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
we as editors, we have a couple of options. Either you become better at your craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
You scale like deeper into what you do, what you can do in terms of video editing.
Yeah.
You choose your niche and you like try to become the best in your niche. I don't know if it's visual effects or it's color grading or
Mm-hmm.
it's I don't know, like trying to become a movie editor, like
Yep.
some TV series.
Yep. Like my favorite
Or
one I did, I'll even just add one side note in there, like
yeah,
really good option. One that I really loved seeing was there's a guy who specializes in video game trailers, and his knowledge was
yeah,
incredible to listen to because he's like, hey, if you got a hard game, I need to see X amount of deaths per minute to communicate that you're going to die when you play this game. He's like, so he like really switched on like how to not just like make the game sell, but sell it to the right people. Fascinating.
nice.
So you can do that. And actually specifically saying that, you're talking about skill niches. So like I'm so good at color grading. If you got a high risk project, like if it goes wrong, it's going to cost a lot of money. You need this color graders. Or you can be solution niched. I'm only working for these clients because I know how to give them the best results.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
like so that's
yeah, that's
niching.
cool.
You got two types of niching. I digress. You're saying like you could charge more or you could explore other options. Your
Actually, yeah. So, well, basically, yeah, you niche down, kind of.
mm,
You have to do this in video editing.
mm-hmm.
Usually, if you want to see if you want your name to spread out, if you want to see some growth, I guess.
Yeah.
Or you like scale like this. You provide more services.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to not just be a video editor. You learn how to, for example, I guess it's how you do it. Like you find businesses and you say, all right, and usually it's a business that doesn't have YouTube presence at this moment, or their YouTube presence is not that good.
They're struggling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you provide the services to market their product or whatever they have, their service on YouTube, or like to create video content that will help them to get some leads. So that way, yeah, you work with a business. Probably it will not be that interesting in terms of like your passion, right? Like if
I
you
like it.
really are into game, yeah, you like yeah.
I like it.
If you make a good amount of money of it, you will
Yeah.
eventually like it, probably.
Yeah. And look, I'll say this, like if you like something that a lot of people find boring or not liking, it's a good way to make money because the supply and demand equation goes
Yeah,
in your favor. A little context, I played a lot of fucking Yu-Gi-Oh, the card games where monsters and spells back in the day.
yeah,
It's all resource management. You've got this much mana and I need to get to this. I need to hit this much damage. Same thing in business. I've got this kind of budget and we need to achieve these results. It's the same thing, just with less colorful flavors, but it's the same kind of mental capacity and thinking as Yu-Gi-Oh in a sense.
yeah.
But I
You
digress.
have to create this game in your head when you're like earning money, because for me, as a more artistic kind of person, it's sometimes I just
Mm-hmm,
can't get myself motivated with money. I'm
mm-hmm,
like, yeah, I have to spend 8 hours during doing this boring shit again,
mm-hmm.
and yeah, I will earn $300, but it's just the
Can I?
long term plan doesn't come up,
Can
doesn't
I?
like
Yeah.
motivate.
Okay, I got it.
It's so
Can I ask a question then? Right. So obviously you do this like job. It takes a day or two. You get $300, and it's boring. You'd be feeling pretty shit, right?
yeah.
How many zeros do I have to add to that $300 before you go? This isn't boring.
Probably one would be enough
Yeah, three
for
thousand
now.
dollars, right?
Yeah,
That's low
yeah,
budget for businesses. Like if you're
yeah.
like in the video production, if it's just a skill like editing, that ranges dramatically. But generally speaking, most businesses know they're going to be paying anywhere from like $1,500 to $15,000 a video.
The
So like,
video.
yeah, so that's the whole shebang. And like that's basic social media stuff. I'm obviously the bigger you get, they easily go into $500,000 or $2 million budgets. I've seen them. I'm not in those worlds. I don't know them. Like I'm in that kind of world where I'm servicing that $1,500 to $15,000 videos.
Mm.
Recurring's different too. Just a disclaimer.
So is it per month, or is it per video, or is it per project, or
Depends on the
what is this?
projects. So actually, I'll say this: there's no silver bullet. There's no one solution suits all. The way I figure out how I'm pricing projects for clients these days is value based, and I've been doing it really bad for like 2 years ago. I was doing it really bad. Last year, I kind of got okay. I'm still kind of okay. Like it's a hard thing for me to grasp at least. At least everyone like I see people talking about it online, and you don't hear anything, or you hear people who have had massive success with it. So I'm just going to be upfront. I'm in the middle. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen somewhat good success with it, and I'll break down what I guess like value is. So when people go to buy something, I was saying before, there's problems or there's price shoppers. Price shoppers are just going to go whatever can get it done at the cheapest. Because if you think of it this way, right? You can like let's say you're in the city and you need to buy a bottle of water because you're thirsty, right? If you don't
Mm-hmm.
drink water for 3 days, you're going to die, right? So the value is really high in water, right? Like it's
Yeah.
really high. Like you don't like you would give your life away. You'd give your life savings away to drink water if that was your only option in 3 days. In saying that, no one pays their life savings for water because the supply's right there. They got a huge market they can compare against. They got that you can get it from the tap, you can get it in a shop. That's why you're only paying $2 or $3 for water in my area, right? So that's called price shopping. I don't need to look at the value. I just need to find what's going to get it done at the cheapest price. The other
Mm-hmm.
ones, when you start getting into value, is when people are looking because they have a problem that needs to get solved. When you're looking at value pricing, they're not looking at how much does it cost. They're looking at like the likelihood of success, the chances of success. They got a problem that needs to be solved. So a good example could be, let's say for a YouTube channel with a business, let's just do a direct example. This has happened in the past. So I've had a business, they saw one of their competitors and they saw them growing this YouTube channel rapidly. When they first looked at it, it was 1,000. And 2 years' time, it was 14,000. A year later, it was like
Mm-hmm.
30,000. It was growing quickly. And they could see that they were taking a market share of customers. And they could also see that the trust they were building in these communities was immense and intense. Like they're going, oh my God, this competitor is killing it at YouTube. This is a dangerous
Mm-hmm.
avenue if we don't get on top of it. That was actually one of my first customers when I was doing YouTube. And I had no idea about value pricing then, but that customer actually value priced for me in a sense. They were able to, like, we had a very honest conversation about why they wanted YouTube and how I thought I could help them. And we were actually was able to charge a decent amount of money per month to just work on their YouTube channel. And we didn't price it based on the costs of like how much time we're gonna have to put in for editors and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. We just figured out what kind of felt like a right price. What was enough money where I didn't have to think too hard about managing budgets and I could make their ends meet and make sure I was doing it to the quality they wanted. And what also they felt like was a good number to throw at the problem. So that was a very bad version of value pricing, but it was value pricing in a sense. And I'll dive deeper into
And
what the actually is. Sorry, Yo.
and how did you position yourself to that client in terms of you're not a video editor,
Yeah.
you are like YouTube growth specialist, or you are an agency, or you are.
So I was stupidly honest in a good way. So I'm like, I said before,
Mm-hmm.
like I value honesty. I never lie. I did that. So what I
Mm-hmm.
did when that client came in is I was like, the long story short, before I approached that client, I had been doing about 2 to 3 months of really heavy research on like what makes YouTube channels grow, what makes them profitable, like what niches work, like all sorts of stuff. And I did a lot of online research. And then eventually I did buy a course, which I then used as a framework for how I was going to do the service. So I didn't buy the course so much to learn. It's just so much like, okay, here's how we like map out, like, here's how we map out ideas. Like just giving me something so I could do it in a decent amount of time. Then what happened was like once I was feeling really confident and ready, I had already been working as a video producer for 2 years before that, like professionally. So I just
Mm-hmm.
reached out to all my clients. I was just like, yo, I'm starting a YouTube channel like service. Like, I'm trying to grow YouTube channels. If you ever hear anyone talking about YouTube channels, do mention that I'm doing something here. Um, and then I did mention to one guy, I was like, hey, can you get me in touch with that exact person there? Because like I could see they were marketing online heavy. They were very passionate about it, but they had a very low ceiling YouTube channel. It wasn't very good, right? So then I
Mm-hmm.
came in and it was like to the client, it was like the stars had aligned because they were just becoming really self-aware that their competitors were doing really well on YouTube. So they had all this evidence that there's this huge amount of value to gain. And then there's the fear that the competitors could just take on the market. And then I came in and I'm like, hey guys, so just to be really upfront and honest, you're my first major client if you choose to go with me. I don't like, I haven't done this before, or I've done very light amounts of it before, like creating YouTube channels. But what I do have is a bunch of research on why I think this is going to work. And I also have the other thing I said was, oh yeah, and I'm just going to make it a subscription based price for this service because every month I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to try and do a better job. So I basically was very upfront that like there was a lot of things I didn't know, but I had done a lot of work to get myself here, and I was the only competitive advantage they could get to making this work. So they basically,
Mm-hmm.
we had a good chat. We had a good, I think even in that meeting, I set a budget at the beginning. And as we kept talking, we realized, oh, this is actually bigger than what I was anticipating. And we increased the budget from my initial prediction and then said yes. And we went ahead and
Mm-hmm.
did it. So just for me, and it really depends on who you want to work with, you don't need to pretend you're an expert. There's a way to be similarly positioned without it. I said that similarly weird, but whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a way to similarly position yourself, which is just do a fuck ton of research. So like, and evidence. So you go, you got see a question coming up.
Yeah. So yeah. Because we got into the territory of agency or something, I guess.
Mm,
And yeah, you have a lot of experience in it. So, first of all, did
mhm.
that client reach out to you, or you found them and started
Mutual
like cold?
mutual contact. We had met really briefly, like I mean, like 2 minutes. We met once, and it was a year ago before that. So we knew each other's names in a sense. One of the things that
Mm-hmm.
definitely really helped here, and this is why I love podcasts, share some context. When I was selling that expensive service, the a mutual contact referred me to them. So like I could have called them directly, but I was like, hey, can you just let them know that I'm doing this YouTube thing and just ask if they're curious? Because I knew they were going into their office that day. This is like small world Brisbane. And they did. And they asked, they said, yeah, they want to talk to you. And I went, great. I'll set up a meeting and I'll present to them what I found. And then we just, I did the
Mm-hmm.
information, we had a conversation, and yeah, rest was history.
And when you just when you were making a deal with them, did you
Mm-hmm.
already have some editors, some
No.
people, so you were just by yourself
Yep.
talking with them that you will provide them these
Mm-hmm.
things without having like having a plan, only a plan on how to do this actually, like how
I
many
knew
people should hire.
exactly how I was going to do it is a good thing. Like I had planned so hard. I had like
Mm-hmm.
there was a level of like I had exact steps which I knew I was going to need to be ready for. Like I knew my costs. I knew how much time I was going to need to put aside to like, figure out the ideas, come up, do this, come down once a month to do the filming, then edit all the videos, then post all the videos, make all the thumbnails. Like I was just going to do everything and I just budgeted out my time. And I just made sure I could charge enough that I could live off the one client to start with.
So, and at that moment, you didn't plan to do any outsourcing or
No,
anything like that.
no,
You were
I
just
did
doing
that
it
1 month
in-house.
after. So what happened was is I got so I hired the client, and we'll talk about hiring in a second, but so what happened was is I
Yeah.
hired the client and I knew I was going to get this substantial amount of money every single month. So I knew like I had no fear of the money, but what I noticed was like my time was just down the drain. Like I was so working hard. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, my like it was at that moment I was like, I just want more time back. And so a good way of looking at it is I didn't hire someone, I just bought my time back. I went online, I found someone, I said, I just need someone to help me out do these things here. And I just bought, what did I bought 8 hours a week. So I said, I'm going to just bring you on one day a week. I just need you to do these things here. And I basically bought 8 hours a week.
So, and from what I can hear, all these things they
Mm.
happen to you locally.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, from like you hired a local editor, you found a local client,
No, I
and
didn't hire
how
locally. I didn't hire
oh,
locally, but the client was local.
yeah. So, but how do
Hmm.
you think this could like transfer into the whole freelance digital
Hmm.
thing when the clients are online and the editors, the
Yeah.
workers are online and
This is
like,
It's a really good question. And like that's why I love these podcasts because we can get in the nuances, right? Like like some people make a YouTube video and go like, yeah, you do this, but then they left out the
yeah,
context of like, I had a mutual contact, so there was this immediate level of trust. So they could spend this money knowing that if I ran away with it, they'll just get it back because they'll sue me.
yeah,
So there's this huge barrier to trust, right? When you come from different countries. And in all honesty, it is just going to be harder. There are ways to do it, but you just got to ask that question, like, what do I need to do to get them to trust me as much, if not more, than the person that's local? Um, and that's a dynamic question, but it can be things like
Mm,
history of results, presenting yourself as an actual legitimate business.
mm-hmm.
Doing, it could be doing smaller, lighter services first. And this will actually get into when I talk about like how to actually do value equation pricing conversations in a bit, because there was a huge amount of steps. Like, oh, there's a lot more ways I could have smoothened that out as well. Like, as much as I say that story and it sounds great, there like that's not a smooth experience. Like, 1 week in, say yes, huge amount of money. Oh shit, we're running. Like, it's like it could have been a
Yeah,
lot smoother than
yeah.
that. Um, the the so the best things I could say is it's just going to be about building trust. So I would say it'd be about finding one client in that country where you want to get clients from. So I think America is a great place because like I've got a client in America now as well. They pay
Mm,
way better than Australia.
mm.
Like it's much
I
it's
just I Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I can just imagine like if I will try to find clients here in Ukraine, how much will they pay? That's
okay.
why I
Well,
decided right away that I will not work on the
I
local market because I know.
yeah, it's a good thinking to go behind as well. And I think this is probably where it's good to get into some value stuff like about it. Like, well, how do you figure out like, is should I be doing 2,000 or 20,000 or $200,000 a month? How do you know like what price you should be charging these services at?
Yeah.
Um, so, when you're getting into this, and I'm just going to read my notes because, again, full disclaimer, I'm still figuring this out. What I can say is I've been trying it for 2 years and practicing for 2 years, and I'm like at it. I've got my notes, but what are you going to ask?
Yeah. Yeah, but while you're reading,
Mhm.
yeah, let me sum it up. So basically, we realized that to break the ceiling of $3,000, like
Mhm.
the our theoretical ceiling, you have to probably either niche down further into one thing or create a business from your video editing services. Because otherwise, like,
Mm. I'll,
there is that's all. That is all, I guess.
oh,
I
no,
don't think we have any other.
so there's one way that you can like just dynamically answer that question in any situation, which is how do I 10x their spend? So if someone gives you like, let's just tell me a number. Tell me if you got paid this per day, you'd be like, swick, salt, gold. I'm gold for the next year. Oh, my light just died. Let me put a charger in.
Yeah, to be honest, for me,
Mm.
it's actually crazy to hear like these amount, like that clients are paying this amount of money for the services. So yeah, for me, it's very like, and I'm only imagining in my head, like, what are the services that you're
Mm.
providing? How much more is it than I am doing, for example? Like, right? Yeah, I'm just editing
I'll
videos
get,
for the other
that's a
client.
really good thought pattern. I think though you're coming from the wrong frame. You're looking for the solutions and like there's more questions to ask first, right? So, the
Yeah,
original thing I was asking for was like just tell me a number, like if you got paid this per day and let's just say 3 days a week because we can't work 5 days a week for clients. We've got to do marketing, we've got to do things. So let's just say what do you need to make? Let's just actually put it this way. What would you need to be making every month to be like, fuck yeah, I'm good?
yeah. I think right now it would be like, well, let's go higher than I thought. Let's say 30, a thousand
$30,000.
dollars a day.
a
Yeah,
thousand
thousand
dollars a
dollars
day.
a day.
Holy shit, I'm not even doing that. But let's talk there. Let's go there.
Yeah,
Let's
like
yeah
aim higher.
yeah aim higher. $30,000 a day. Like woo. Yeah, let's go.
30 a
Okay,
day.
30,000. Oh, 30. Fuck me. Okay, no, okay. Let's go. So let's say we're doing Well, see, you're saying $1,000 a day times 30, right? But we only work. I think it's 22 or 26 days. How many days on average in a year in a month?
Yeah, 21 working day.
20, well, that's the number. So, but let's just go with $30,000. Okay. What do
Yeah,
you need to be offering people or giving people so that they're happy to pay $30,000 a day?
damn. A
What would?
month, a day.
Oh, sorry, a
No one
month.
will be
Okay.
happy to pay $30,000 a day.
Yeah. Okay.
For
So let's say again. If you like? What would you have to be like? I think it could be one client or 10 clients, but what do you need to be giving back for them to be happy to pay you $30,000 a day? See, that's a good question
Okay,
to ask. What do
yeah,
I need
yeah,
to give them for them to be happy to pay it? And
yeah,
it's
happy.
and so it's like you can have a think. Everyone struggles with this, especially in the editing world, and I struggled with this extremely a lot until I talked to a marketer, and it was like there's a really simple rule, and we can break it down a bit, but 10x so in the marketing world, generally speaking, you're trying to aim for 10x on everything you do. If you hit 5x, it's considered passable. You don't get excited, but you're passing it. So if you someone pays you $30,000 to do a job, the passable return is $150,000 in value. It doesn't have to be just revenue or
For
anything, but
them.
yeah, like 150 in value, and that could be like brand and a whole bunch of stuff like that. But in marketing, that's it. And if you're doing 10x, generally speaking, 10x is considered out of this world crazy. Not crazy. It's not out of this world crazy. It happens time to time. But generally speaking, you're not charging enough if you've got 10x going on, but you're aiming for
Hmm.
it. And that's a really
Yeah,
tough
but
question to answer, isn't it? 10x. How do you
yeah,
10x?
especially because we all the people, they have different like
Mm-hmm.
perception of money, and
Yep.
for someone $1,000 is a lot. For someone, it's like everything. For someone, it's nothing.
Yep.
And as editors, like
Mm-hmm.
who can earn like a couple of thousand a
Yep.
month, to understand that for that business to give you like 10K
Mm-hmm.
for this month to just do the work for them, it's nothing. It's very hard to comprehend this.
Yep.
That's why I'm so like not confused, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm in awe like that.
Yep.
Yeah, from my experience, like all those Fiverr, Upwork clients, they
Mm-hmm.
are cheaping out, as you said. Like they are shopping, or how did you say?
Yeah, just those clients are never gonna ask. No client's gonna even consider the value. And even just
Yeah.
going on to that as well, it's like you say 10,000 very casually, right? It even like for me, again, like so 3 years specialized into YouTube, did a bit of Hollywood experience, like Hollywood style filmmaking, wasn't Hollywood itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did basically like 2.5 years of just general video work where I was doing all the work too. I wasn't just an editor, I was doing the producing side. I then moved on to YouTube as a speciality. Like, and that's been going on now for 2.5 years as well, I would say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be very hard for me. Like 10,000 USD would be really hard to charge for a month. Like you can do it. I haven't done $10,000 a month USD like that, but I have done like a lot, several thousands, but not that much. Again, main thing
Mm-hmm.
is because I can't really answer that question for most of the clients I serve. How do I 10x their spend? If I'm doing $10,000, I better have a fucking banging YouTube channel because that's $100,000 value a month. That's a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but I'll talk about it a bit more, right? So like there's a few things that are really good to note. Like it's funny, you never questioned that 5 to 10x. Have you heard that before, or like does it just
No,
make sense to
actually,
you?
no.
So
Yeah, it kind
most
of makes sense. I never heard about 5 or 10, and I don't
it's a very basic
really.
marketing term, like a basic marketing
Mm-hmm.
rule. But again, blew my mind when I heard it like 3.5 years ago or 3 years ago. And it was like it instigated a lot of questions. Like, how do you 10x someone's spend? How do you measure the results? How do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
like all
definitely.
these things, right? Yeah, they're really hard questions to answer. And that's the point, because the difference between those who do and don't make the money is they can answer those questions.
Mm,
So
like
that's
you
why there's no
using
silver bullet.
hyperlinks from your videos that you post or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have these questions like
absolutely.
right away.
Like a simple one for measuring is like, okay, well, we can't figure out how many sales were from the YouTube channel, but we can figure out the website visitors, which translates to this. So you start getting rough guesstimates. And when you're in here, you're not looking for exacts. You just need to get like good solid foundational evidence. Like so
And also,
Sorry, yeah.
How do you measure? And also, for example, if the client is making talking head videos or
Mm-hmm.
something. But I guess you were also doing the filming. You were doing all the job, all the work.
I just chose to do everything. So you could take this to a digital service, which would be way better. And that's like what I'm doing now. I'm not trying to film for any more clients. I just don't have the time. And I don't want to get into production anymore because it's a very stressful experience. Which is also what made it a bit easier to jump into because it was so stressful to manage everything. Not many people would choose to do that. So again, didn't have a lot of competition. Now, in saying that, you could definitely go all digital with it. And I think, there's still a few more questions about the value to get to. And then we can talk about the solutions. I still want to stay in this
Yeah.
concept with you a bit because there's like before we I do this too. Solution. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Solution. Like let's just explore the problem as
Yeah.
deep
No,
as it
no.
goes. Yeah.
Cliffhanger. We need a
I
a
promise this
little
isn't
bit of.
retention. It's to make the education as good as possible. So with
Yeah.
a few things to note. Why is it 5 to 10x? The way I figured out most people, at least in my circle, seem to justify it is that so with all companies, the average profit margin, and I mean net profit. So once they minus all their expenses and all their taxes, their net profit is about 8.54%. It's not
Yeah.
that great. You can get similar returns share trading. So you may as well do that and not have the stress of a business. There are, but there are businesses that they are doing that, like 10%, 20% is considered really insanely good, and 30% is like these rare golden apples you never see, like banking sectors and stuff. But so that there's that
Mm-hmm.
10 to 20% market, which is who you should be targeting as a marketer. Now, when we talk about my experiences here in this theory, we are getting into the marketing world. So you don't have to go down the full, like, Google Analytics and stuff like that. There are ways around it, which I did. And we'll get that in a second. But when you're with these companies, usually they got 10 to 20% profit margins, right? So, and I'll give you an example and a theory. Most people struggle with that 5 to 10x in the editing world because I go, hey, if I paid you $200 to edit a video, how much value do you need to bring me? And they go, 220, you made 10% on top. That's good. Okay, great. If I pay someone $200 to edit a
Mm-hmm.
video and I get $220 in value back, now we take a look at my profit margin and let's just take an average and say that I'm a 10% profit margin company. That means of that $220, only 22 of those dollars is profit. Or another way of putting it, I just paid $200 to make $22. I've lost money.
Yeah.
So the cost, that's
And,
basically it. So you need to make the value return so good it makes sense.
and if you want to make $100 a day with that, that means that you have to make 5 videos. You have to
Mm-hmm.
spend 5 times 200,
Mm-hmm.
right? To make like
Yeah.
5 times 20.
Yeah.
And it's like basically you're just managing a lot of people and a lot of stress and stuff, and there is no reason to do
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So you don't want to be doing those low offers anyway. But the main thing being is that, so if I pay someone $200, I need to see between $1,000 to $2,000 in value being returned, right? It's and just to be clear, that doesn't mean that video makes that much in ad revenue or makes that much in digital product sales. There are other things in the equation to consider, which is important to charge those prices. But like generally speaking, you need to be thinking about it like that. How are they seeing that kind of monetary value return? And there are a few things you can consider, like time. Hey, working with me versus the other person means you spend 3 hours less conversing with what actually needs to be done. If their hourly rate's $100, that's $300 in value. Again, so it's all the little things you find and pull together to answer those
Mm-hmm.
questions that matter. Um, so when you're where am I going with that next then? Well, actually, do you have any thoughts around that before we'll move more and deeper into the value equation? Because there's steps.
Let me think.
You actually mentioned
I
one
mean,
before. Um, how do you measure the value on a YouTube channel?
oh
And
yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's okay. So this is a really good.
Well, yeah,
Mhm,
I have a different one. For
mhm,
example, we have a client with a product. So I have a question. We have a
mhm,
client with a product that is, I don't know, making talking head videos,
mhm,
and you edit them.
mhm,
The video can pop off,
mhm.
can not.
Yep.
How do you measure if it's like his fault and the way he was saying stuff
Mm-hmm.
and presenting stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or it's your fault. The
Mm,
editing was bad. And the same, like, if it succeeded, if it, like, brought a lot of money.
yeah.
It was me who was recording. It was my face, so that's what I
Mm.
did. Like, or it was you as an editor who did that. Like, how do you split?
How do you
Understand
split the
who
hairs?
provided the value?
Usually, okay, yeah. Who's providing the value? Where? What? How? Okay, good question. So, few things. Firstly, like it's funny. Like as an editor, you're going to start thinking in these like result orientated ways, right? But you have very little say in the actual results. Either you get your job done good, or you don't, and the video does well, or it doesn't. There are circumstantial times when the editor will do something crazy and out of the blue, and all of a sudden it blows it up into a viral video, but not often because at the end of the day, 95% of the video is made before it gets to the editing desk. From the scripting, the planning, the presenting, you're just putting it together by the end, right? And but as an editor, it's you're the one who has to bear the whole weight and figure out how to put it together. So
Yeah.
there's a pro and con. One, you don't have a lot of control over the value at the end of the day. Two, you actually start understanding what's going to make the value work or not because you're the one who has to look at the retention graph, see what works, come back, do a good job. So once you start thinking like that, it's a really good indication that it might be time to move up and do something bigger. Because if the best example I can give is um, movie producers. So many terrible movies with VFX, but it's not the VFX artist's fault. It's the fact that they got producers telling them what to do who know nothing about VFX. Like, oh, raise
Yeah.
this one eyebrow. So raise that one eyebrow. Now I've got to tilt my head to the left to make it natural for human. And that just took 2 weeks and now we're out of budget. Like, it's that kind of thing. So as an editor, you've gone through those pains. You could be the not shit producer.
Yeah.
That's my thinking
Yeah,
behind it.
actually, yeah, you actually kind of inspired me with these words because, like,
Mhm.
when I started this second channel,
Mm.
that's when I started to actually pay attention to what works, to my
Mhm.
delivery of words, and the most viewed video on my channel is the least edited one.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. The video that you found, by the way.
There you go. So
So yeah, it
yeah,
it was just the
so what I've noticed, there's a general rule of thumb. I'm sure there's a specific number, but I don't know what it is. But like I roughly think that 80% of the results on a YouTube channel come down to the ideas, not
yeah.
anything else. Not the like the presenting's important, probably more important than the editing. And it's really funny saying this as someone who has a YouTube channel on video editing. So the one thing I just want to say there is that I really love editing because it gets you on the tools and it gets your hands dirty to learn what works, which you can then use as a stepping stone to be the best at something. So that's the way I look at editing, especially if you're in, because the other thing is if you just be an editor, you're going to be competing with everyone around the world. Everyone has different wages. I was predominantly
Mm-hmm.
trained in editing when I was doing all my learnings. And the big issue I had in Australia was it was really hard to get a good paying job because I had to compete with the places where the dollar stretches further, which is totally fair. That's capitalism in the free market. Let's do it, baby. But at the end of the day, I needed to it because I couldn't earn a full-time living as just an editor. I was forced to figure out what that means I had to become. So there was an extra level of pressure there for me to figure it out quicker. So it's like everything's a double
Yeah.
blade. Well, people can go like, oh, I've got this disadvantage or this advantage. Everything like there's always everything's a double bladed edge. Just depends on how you look at it. Um, I went on a bit of a rant there. I saw you were going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
ask a question.
As an editor, and like, and also kind of content creator. Hate this phrasing, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like a person who is making videos on YouTube.
Mhm.
Um, I can see that I set myself a challenge on, like, achieving as best results as I can with as least video editing as possible, because
Good.
also when I'm working on my videos, I'm so tired. I don't want to do those things that I'm doing for my clients. I don't want to do them for myself. So my latest videos, they're just me sitting without, like, talking without any b-roll, and it gets some good comments and good reviews, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy. That means that I can, like, the things that I'm talking about, they are actually, like, they are resonating with people. on some level. And that means a lot more to me than if I would add those crazy VFX and people would say, wow, such a crazy effect. That's
Well, you
actually,
touched on something really important there, which is like you
yeah.
started doing value without realizing it. What's more valuable to the viewer? Hearing these like really raw, honest stories about the reality so they know they're not alone, or seeing some fucking Aman Ghazi style edit, right?
Yeah,
What gives them more value?
these edits.
So that's even
True.
how I thought about it with snap captions, right? Like I was like, when I made snap captions, I had 350 subscribers on my YouTube channel. It's now at 6,000 something. I
Mm-hmm.
made it because I looked at like I specifically again I used my experience building YouTube channels for other people to figure out what I should do. And I was looking, I was like, okay, if I make a tutorial, I save someone in that moment 10 minutes or 20 minutes of searching or whatever it may be, or maybe it's a little bit better result, but it's only a single moment of value given to them. When I go
Mm-hmm.
and create a tool and they open it up every day and use it every day to save time, it's way more valuable, right? And just to give it a context, that tool cost me about 4 times the amount of a YouTube video. Sorry, 3 times the amount of what I was spending on YouTube videos to make or to hire someone to help build.
Mm-hmm.
And so, three videos for the plugin, one video for the video to actually promote the plugin. So that video cost 4 times as much. That video has roughly done about 1,200 times better than anything else I've posted. So the ROI is pretty fucking good. So like
Yeah,
you've already
1200.
started you've already started stepping into that. You understood that you're like, what's the least amount of effort to get the best results? That's one of the first questions people need to figure out. And that's great. And then you also figured out like, oh, if I talk like these and I share these things, they do well. And you're starting to like understand it the value of the video is in the idea and somewhat the execution, but mainly the idea and actually getting it out there than what you do as an editor. Um, now,
Yeah, I
sorry,
will.
go.
Yeah, sorry. I will also say, editors, if you are watching this,
Mhm.
realize if you are just learning stuff and
Mm.
doing like some crazy effects, learning Iman Gadzhi and Ali Abdal style,
Mm.
like the simple effects, the simple stuff is the most powerful one.
Mm.
Usually, the rough cuts, instead of doing this very smooth zoom in and stuff like that, just do a rough zoom and it will have much more impact on the viewer. Play
I,
more
I,
with the sound.
I'll
And
give a bit
yeah,
more
I would.
nuance than that because I don't think there's ever any silver bullets. If you are
Mm,
Iman Ghazi, or whatever you pronounce his name as, editing like Iman Ghazi, if you're Iman Ghazi, is probably a good idea. It's probably what's going to make you the most amount of money. It's
true.
not it's this is the fun thing. And this is actually okay. This is something I'm realizing because what you're like the stuff you're doing now is what I was doing all the time when I tried this transition and where I got stuck. And it literally took like some guy looking at me going, "Stop fucking thinking of solutions." It was like, and like, so what happens is like we think of these like, this is the answer, these are the solutions. It's not. Everything's dynamic. It's about
Mm,
understanding how everything interacts. What do I if what editing style gives that person the most value? Aman Gaji, generally speaking, targets 14 to 18-year-olds with an attention span of 2 seconds. And I don't think it's because of the world we live in with short videos. I think they just have a short attention span because they're fucking teenagers. They just want quick, easy, good feeling stuff. When we're teenagers, we're discovering the world, we get excited easy. And his videos kind of hit that mark. So, but at the same time, let's just say like we're going to go to a real estate agent, right? Hey, I'm going to help you find people that want to buy a home or sell a home. And then you do an Aman Gaji style edit, and next thing you know, their phone's ringing off the clock with 16-year-olds. Not a good look, right? So
yeah.
and I'm glad you brought that up, and I didn't mean to like bring it onto you too hard. But at the end of the day, it's not
No,
that
no.
this is the right way or that's the wrong way. It's again about figuring out the value exchange between people. So if you
It's
go
actually,
to sorry,
yeah.
you go.
You are actually, you're right. And yeah, I kind of am
Yeah,
wrong here
yeah.
because I always have this a stance of like, try to do something differently. Don't
Mhm.
follow the trends. Try to figure out something else and
Yeah.
yeah, do your own thing. Yeah, it's my artistic brain is talking. But
Yeah.
if you follow the market and you see what's trendy and you can hop on that
Mm-hmm.
hype train, yeah, probably you will get better results. But from
Maybe.
what I can see, maybe, yeah, it's all luck,
It's
opportunity, and
well, it's yeah, it always comes down to the value. It's just like keep asking what's the value. That trust me, that question just goes deeper and deeper the more you keep playing with it. Like again, I'm 2 years in
value.
and I'm still learning it. So yeah, and it really, I'll give you a breakdown of like maybe a good way to start thinking about it. So one of the ways I've been trying to start my initiation or sales calls or whatever, or like onboarding calls with new clients is like I've been working towards just evolving that value conversation into somewhat of a framework that just helps keep it moving in a good direction. So there's 10x, and I realized that when I was talking to this expert veteran, like they're over their age is going on, and the only reason they haven't retired is because they'd get bored, so they keep working. I was talking to them to make sure I had like my value thinking correct because I was talking to it with some other followers and I just didn't want to give bad information. I was like, hey, can you tell me if I'm doing anything that's like fundamentally dangerous to talk about? Anyway, we
Mm-hmm.
ended up refining my approach to this now. So if someone gets on a call with me, and again, we're thinking about the 10x value. And I'm just going to make up a number. So let's say for me to work for someone, I need to make $1,000 a day because otherwise, if they don't want to pay me $1,000 a day, I'm just going to find someone else who will. Like, so let's just say that that's $1,000 a day is what I need to make. When I get on a call with a client, the first thing I need to know is, are they looking to get 10x that? Hey, yeah, blah, 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 have a good chat. Like, oh, yeah, look, we need to like sell $10,000 more in products. And it's not a direct answer like that as well. It'll be a whole bunch of jumbled information that you got to equate to $10,000. And if I can see, okay, we're going to help them make $10,000 worth of value, saves their
Mm-hmm.
employees times having to train them. Again, YouTube videos do that. Or it could be like onboarding clients quicker. It could be just getting leads. There's a whole combination of things. And if that equates to $10,000, great, you can get me for a day. But usually we want to do more than that, then obviously. So that's
Yeah,
step
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the process is like, are they looking to get results that's 10x my day rate? And that'll get them a day. And that's the first step. So, and this is even good for you as well, right? Like if you say you're going to editor day rate's $300, great.
Yeah.
You know to see like, okay, is this video going to get them $3,000 in value? And again, now you're going to have a mind blank on what are those questions to ask to see if that's even possible.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
that's a good. Yeah. So if I'm just a single video editor who
mhm,
has a client that pays
mhm,
me $300 per video,
mhm,
how can I even count? How can I even understand that
mhm.
that video will bring them 3,000?
It could be a combination of things. How much time do you save them because they don't have to give you as many notes? Hey, I do one revisions.
Mm.
Obviously, it's like we'll do more, but never done more than one revision. Or like, don't lie, but like, say like, you could go like, I aim to only do one revision on average. That means some videos have zero, some have two, some have one, but you'll see a lot of zero revision videos.
Yeah,
That's a
actually,
big,
that's true about me.
yeah. So, a lot of people market like unlimited revisions. The second anyone who's worth money sees unlimited revisions, they go, no, because I don't want to
Mhm.
do that. I'm not looking to stretch the dollar. I'm looking to get shit
I
done.
mean, who wants to do that? Even the editor wants to do that. Like the
Mm,
revisions is the worst thing that you can do.
yeah.
Like you do the
Yeah,
work and then you do it
exactly.
from
But
scratch
it's
or
a very
something or
commonly
change.
advertised
Yeah, that,
unlimited revisions.
I oh, your sound cut off.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
good. So we'll do it from here. Earbuds died. Audio might sound a bit worse now. See how we go. But you see, that's a question to start
it's all
asking,
right.
right? And do you feel like how you don't
Yeah.
feel as sleazy? Like it's starting to feel like you're starting to get more confidence selling your service without feeling sleazy. Because at the end of the day, what you're doing now is you're starting to look out for the client. Like, hey, I cost this much money. I may not be worth it for you because you're trying to solve a smaller problem. You're not going to end up happy if you pay for me. That kind of thing. There's a way to sell without selling, which is what the value pricing is.
Yeah, that's how I actually approach clients with shorts because I don't do shorts. I just say them that no, I'm not into vertical content. I'm not going into the rabbit hole of why I think that this is the short form content is a brain rot and stuff like that. I'm just saying, yeah, I'm not doing it because yeah, it takes too much time with not a lot of like.
I'll give you an example of value pricing in shorts as well then. So I did see this person who like they really did specialize in shorts for products. They did this one short for this dog food brand, right? They sold out that entire warehouse, which was, I can't remember off the top of my head. It was somewhere between $40,000 or $200,000 worth of stock. They sold it out in a week. So it was whatever they had, gone, one short. Now, in saying that, the value equation for them is like, okay, look, obviously not every short we do sells $200,000 worth of dog food, or, we'd be very rich. But they do know that, roughly speaking, out of every 100 videos of shorts they upload, they'll say like this many will do these many sales, and then hopefully one or two of them will do these big banger sales. So that's kind of their thinking on the value shorts. It's not, and it is a bit of a dumping ground. I don't really watch a lot of shorts because it's not my style, and I can get it as well. But yeah, again, value equations really play into that. So if you're going to do shorts, and I'll say this, shorts are easy to understand, and that's probably why they sell so well to businesses, because shorts don't really work on building brands or building this like
And
long-term
trust.
growth. It's sell now. And that's kind of what that market is. So they're kind of easier to sell in the value equation. Now, the tricky bit is, how do you value sell a short like that? Like, hey, I'll make you a
Yeah.
short, right?
Yeah,
Evidence.
you said $50 for that short, and then it made like 200 for them, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. You're about so if they did $200,000, you were about $20,000 short on what you should have charged for that one, for
Yeah.
that short.
Yeah.
But or for that like package service. Now when people go like, oh well, like they start going, okay, now I've got to like, I'm gonna say like, look, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Not really. The best way to prove, like the best way to sell value like that, like, with those kind of results, is just go, I've done it in the past. Right. So like once you've done it once, like, so, and that's why you got to be tracking and keeping track of those things. You go like, look, I did it for this client here, made them a fuck ton of money. Here's the breakdown. Or you don't have to go too specific. Sometimes it's confidential, but you just say you made them a fuck ton of money, and I can try. And you don't even say, oh, I'm going to do it again. You just go, and I can try doing it for you too if you like. And they go, yeah, sure, because they just understand that you're the best bet, because no one can guarantee results. Anyone who guarantees results, especially in social media marketing, is bullshitting out their ass. The best you can do is give it your best shot. And based on my evidence, it's a pretty good shot with me. That's kind of the attitude I've run with, and what I've seen a lot of people do well run with. And that's just about qualifying the client. 10x before you start. Well, actually, we kind of got into the second rule. So the first one is like, are they looking to get 10x the results? If someone's that specialist dog food brand selling shorts person, right? They're going to charge $20,000 for a package of 50 or something, or a package of 20 shorts, right?
Damn. What
Yeah,
are
right.
these prices? That sounds kind of crazy.
Right. And it's very extreme. And the only way they do that is with the background. And obviously I'm making numbers up. I don't know what they charge. Maybe it's maybe it's $20,000 for 100. But they could easily do that, because they can go, we've done this somewhat consistently. Chances are we can do it for you too. Good. But that's actually the key point. Can we do it for you too? So once you know that they are looking to get the results that fits within your price point, you can do a good exchange. Can you actually get them the results? And there's kind of two stages to that process. So there's like an level of obviousness to do it. And then there's like how you actually do it. So as an example, I've been approached by someone, and they wanted to start a YouTube channel around spiritual growth. And it was pretty cool. It's really good. And I was like, okay, yeah, great. Now, when I actually looked on YouTube for just a second, I was like, shit, this content's not going to go anywhere. I said ideas like 80% of the results, everything they wanted to do, none of it would work on YouTube. I was like, dude, you got to go on Instagram or Facebook. So once you know that, like, but by the way, they had the budget to spend the money with me. But when I looked and just said, like, you know what, can't do it. So that's the second one, is just like seeing like, hey, is this something that I'm actually going to be qualified to do? Can I qualify to do it? Can I think I'm going to get them the results? And you don't want to have 100. You don't need, sorry to say, you don't need to have 100% answer there. Just a certain level of confidence. Like, you know what? I feel pretty confident that I could make that happen. And then there's this third step. How do we actually make this happen? So now here's the thing. You don't want to be sending out these free proposals and all this like really heavy stuff to go like, here's how we're going to do it for you specifically, right? You want some money for the research you're going to perform. So usually what happens is there's a thing called like a discovery. So before you even like say a price to a client, or say like, this is how much it's going to cost, we're going to make you all these results, you probably would need to do some research on them specifically. Again, there's no silver bullets to make sure that you can find evidence it's going to work. So the way that
Yeah.
would usually look is, a client's going to go, great, we want a YouTube. How much is it going to cost? And you're going to go, look, I don't like throwing numbers out of the hat. And for you specifically, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Typically in the past, when I've worked with people like what you're looking to do, we're looking at between $5,000 to $8,000 a month. And they go, okay, great. Now, before we do that as well, I want to make sure that, we've got a really good chance of succeeding. So I'd like to do a discovery first where we're going to actually figure out exactly what's going to work best. And maybe that's going to be $1,500 or $1,000. And it's going to be for a day. And I'm going to do a bunch of background research. I'm going to look up your competitors. I'm going to look up the ideas that have got the highest outlier scores. And I'm going to put together a list and come up with a plan. And then once I present the plan,
yeah, sorry. I guess it's also the moment where you have to check their channel and see if they are capable of doing that. If it's if it's a person who is talking in front of the camera, you can right away you can kind of see if you can fix it, if you can make it better, or it's just
yeah, exactly. And a really good example of that could be, you might see, and this is the thing, it depends on the client. You usually, if you're doing these big sales, you want to be doing some level of research before you get in, right? So if it's something really obvious, like let's just say like the reason why you think their YouTube channel's not growing is because they're really bad in front of the camera, like their performance, but their editing's fine and your skill set's editing. Before you get too far into that whole process, you go, look, I looked at it and I think this is it. You should actually talk to this person over here because I'm not a performance coach. Or maybe I might try becoming one if you want, but like that kind of thing. That's really obvious. There are sometimes things that are a bit more subtle. Or even as an example, the client who was doing the growth work, because I had seen some spiritual stuff work, but I hadn't seen his specific spiritual stuff work. So in the discovery, actually, when I did that discovery, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't move forward with this monthly subscription service. I just can't get you the results. I turned him down because I said, at the end of the day, I would take your money. We'd get 3 months in. I'd have a bad portfolio because I'd have no views, and you'd be really mad at me because you spent all this money and got nothing. It was like the good thing you spent money on that discovery, because otherwise we just saved us wasting all that money down the line.
But you didn't tell you didn't tell the client that. Yeah, it was all you cannot talk to camera. I just couldn't fix you.
Yeah, no, well, you could just say, I'm not the one to fix you, right? It'd be like going to a dentist to get heart surgery. It's like, hey, you don't need teeth fixed, you need your heart fixed. Like it's just, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. And that's the thing, nothing's wrong here. It's just going like, hey, can we make a deal where we both come out happy? That's it.
Yeah.
Can
But I would say these kind of deals, it's not what the beginner editors or anyone like who's starting is getting.
That's a great point, actually. Like that could be another question. I'm just an editor with 1 or 2 years experience. How the hell would I jump into this? Because I know there's an unfair advantage. Like my brain, people have told me my brain kind of ticks really well with like thinking like this. And at the same time, I had a bit of producer experience, not just editing experience. How the hell do I get started as an editor?
I can also feel that, by the way, from the conversations.
I didn't start like this. Like there's a lot of my brain that may have been like that, but at the same time, I know the way I talk about these things has evolved. You don't take the big leap. Like the discovery call, you just start with small. Like the way I hired someone, you don't hire someone, you just buy back 8 hours a week from a freelancer. You start small. So for YouTube, I'll give you a really good example. If you've been editing all these videos and the next thing you might say is, let's just take a scenario. Let's say you've been editing all these YouTube videos and you've also been keeping track of the views, and you're starting to notice there are things that are outside your control. And one of them could be ideas. Ideas are where 80% of the results are. One of the things you could simply do is go, hey, client, I love working with you. But at the end of the day, you just go, I love working with you, but I want to be solving bigger problems. Can I try and help do something for you? You could just, if you've got those trusted clients, offer it to them for free. Be really upfront, like, hey, I want to help you pick better ideas so that you can get even more views. And then you're going to just pay me a little bit more. And if you've never done it before, just give a bunch of research to back it up. But you could just look up, like, people have typically charged $400. I will do it for like $200. Basically, you're paying for me to like get the software necessary to do the research and a little bit on top for my time, but not much. You're showing
Yeah.
them that you understand the risk because, again, when you're more risky to purchase from, your value is less. So by you taking that cut back, you're showing that you understand that value exchange to them.
This is
That's how you
actually
start.
what I was planning, and I was kind of moving towards with that client with endurance and running and triathlon stuff, because they are busy, and I can see when they record videos, it's just a bunch of messy like stuff, reviews
Yep.
of some products where they put some also information, and I can see that I'm also in that niche, and I'm following it. I'm looking
Mhm.
videos, and I see what they could do, and I was even writing them like video ideas, like let's try to do that. Let's switch a little bit to that thing because that works better. But I never. But yeah, it's also yeah. I love those people, and they helped me a lot. So that's why I didn't tell them like, hey, yeah, I know their money situation and like waiting for the investors to like agree and stuff. So I wasn't pushing on that thing. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point. If you have an established client, at some point you have to move on to like if you also know how YouTube works, not only video editing software, you
Yeah,
have to move on
absolutely.
providing like giving them more free time and just take over the whole YouTube thing and provide them that service, and they, if they have the money, they will be glad to do that. But that brings up the next very important thing, which is outsourcing and
Oh, yeah.
like finding people like
I know we had a
my
little really brief chat in the past, because
yeah.
I mentioned like, outsourcing is like even if you're not doing the scale method, like I'm just going to sell a bunch of cheap videos and hire cheap labor, which again, I'm not doing that. That's shit that would kind of kill me as well. I don't like hiring people and having them struggle in life. One of the big things I
Oh, no,
do
no, no, no.
when I hire people is I do make sure they're good. I do rest. But when you mentioned briefly, like, some like I'm going to say belief, but you can correct me on the words, like some belief issues with hiring people.
Yeah, so the thing is that if I'm a video editor, if I'm a person, if I'm not a company, if I'm not a like agency or something, and I have my portfolio which shows my work that I do, and I provide it to the client, and the client takes a look and they hire me because of that work, because of how I do things. So some people I know, they are doing this kind of shady outsourcing, like they just hire a client and they say they will edit a video, and then they just hire another person paying them less money, which is also a problem for me. Like, how can I like pay less money to a person to like do the work that I would get, that I would love to earn more for, but it's not that less, so that I had that margin, that it's like we said about 200 or $250 difference. I would take $200 for this video, or I would take $250 for that video, and I will pay another person to do it for 200, and I have $50. But I could have 250. But yeah, I have free time, which I will probably spend playing video games.
Yep.
So it's
Okay.
not a
So
yeah.
there's a jumble of thoughts going in here with hiring people. Okay, like
Yeah.
let's just talk it through because there's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of strings to unravel.
yeah.
Um, let's just start with the last one you said, which was why if I hire someone, I'm just gonna have this more time spare, which I'm then gonna use to play video games. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it. I play video games too. I play a lot of it sometimes if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
Um, at the end of the day, there's again, this is like that's one of those things where we start getting into the actual person. So it's like, I'd have to like just hang out with you for a long time with how you work or work with you for a while, just to be like, all right, I'm seeing you doing these things here. You need to stop it. When it comes to working, like when it comes to, yeah, you don't want to be paying for someone's time if you're not going to be using it useful. So I guess like that's probably even just one good qualification. So I didn't hire someone till 1 month after I had that first client where I was good on cash, but I was shit on time every month.
Mm-hmm.
inevitably into the future until they stopped wanting me. That was just to me. I was like, okay, it just makes sense to hire someone to get that part of the job done. So yeah, like, and there's two factors to that. One, do you not have enough time? Do you have too much money? Not even too much money. Do you have enough? Do you have more money than time? Is your time worth more than your money? That's when you buy
Yeah.
back your time.
So basically, you have to hire out of necessity when you literally have more work than you have time. Not
Yeah.
the other way around. Like, okay, I want to start a business. I need to start outsourcing. So let me outsource this.
Well, let's even relate it back to the value. When I start valuing my time more than I value the money I could spend, and that's very specifically like that. So, like, hey, I would really value having my 8 hours back versus paying Kiri $300 to do the video.
Mm,
That's
yeah,
that's kind of how it goes. Like when you can look at those two and go, I want time, and you take the money. That's how you do it. So,
yeah,
like, you very specifically, you will be in that situation where you go, okay, I need this. Then you just buy back a little bit of
yeah,
time, and
yeah.
just start little. I always I don't. People go for a hire really quickly. Sometimes it's good to start with freelancers or contractors because
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
the
long.
only way for me here,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, absolutely. But I just because some people when I say hiring, they think like, oh, I got to bring on an employee. No, you can just hire someone on a day. So
Yeah.
there's one thing. Is there anything else that you struggle with when it comes to like,
Well,
outsourcing?
actually, I have one of the clients. He is also
Mm,
asking me to do the thumbnail,
yep.
and that's what I want to like try myself out with outsourcing and see how it will go. I found a guy on Twitter,
Mm,
so yeah, I guess I will do it this week. We'll see. Yeah, because a lot of people, yeah, sometimes you get mm, really not inspired, like surprised, pleasantly surprised that
mm.
you think that, oh, making a thumbnail, he will ask me to do the pictures. I will have to ask my client to do the pictures, and he just sent me. No, you can just send me the video, like the
Yeah.
link to the video unlisted, and I will do everything else. And I'm like, okay,
Wow. So
that's
if
and
that
they do a
thumbnail
great job.
artist costs like, let's just say 30% more or twice as much as the other thumbnail artist, but he's going to ask for pictures, who are you going to choose?
Yeah,
Yep, that's
uh,
value. Value's got intangible things like just being able to get it done without their fucking input. That's a big one, especially when you start working for more expensive time poor clients. That's all it comes down to is like, how little do I have to give you for me to get the results I'm happy with? Like, that's a big part of value.
yeah, yeah. I think actually that's what like also separates some of the editors. So if I would go an extra mile and for example my client reviews some product and I will not text him like, hey, send me the photos of that product, send me that, send me this, do that, and I
Just
wait,
Google the fucking product.
I will just find all of those things myself. Yeah, of course it's time consuming. Yeah, of course you have to have limits. If it's an automation video where you basically have to find everything yourself, then no, thank you, that's too much. But if it's like just a review and you found some cool products, or if it's a already existing YouTuber who has an intro and he wants to try a test video with you and you saw that he has an intro already created for him, just download one of his videos, cut out that intro, put it in the video, and he will be like, cool, yeah, he researched, he found this. So it actually what I
Yep.
realized that I'm not good at finding clients. I never did that purposefully, like except
Yeah.
from the beginning. But I kind of got good at holding on to clients and like talking to them in the right way so they would become a long-term client.
That's probably the
That
best way to do it. I think ideally, if when you're in that like early stage of business, you just want like again, it really varies based on everything. But like looking back at myself, I probably only wanted like 3 to 5 really good clients, maybe like 5 really good clients, but maybe doing a little less intensive of the service, just so if one of them left, that it wasn't such a big hit to the income. But yeah, you
how
don't want many
how do
clients, and
you
I'm not good
yeah,
at
yeah,
finding them too.
Yeah.
So
But
my
how do you
strategy,
manage growth then? How do you if you have long-term clients, which are great, they are amazing, and you like, yeah, you love everything, you love working with each other. And yeah, sometimes there are cases when the client will tell you like, yeah, I want to raise your salary, but usually that's not the case. And how that's what I was thinking. If I would just abandon all my clients right now and try to find new ones, what is the chance like that I will like earn more money? Not even the chance. So I don't want to abandon my clients. I want to stay with them, but I want to earn more money because I spent like 2 years already working and I want to grow somehow. And how do you manage like sticking with clients long term, but at the same time growing as an editor, as an, I don't know, business owner?
right? So sticking with these clients long term. So let me just see if I got that question right. How do I stick with these clients while I grow into something bigger? Is that the
I
question?
mean,
Like,
like,
how do I keep
while
them
you,
while I grow bigger?
so while you're raising your prices and like slowly,
You may
not
not.
slowly,
Yeah.
maybe
So
fast, like, yeah. So for
there's
example,
two
right now
answers.
I want to earn more money, but I have
Hmm.
these clients which are paying me these fixed per
Fixed
project
rates
rates,
for a
and
single video. Yep.
I yeah, and the only option for me to grow is
Hmm.
like only to find another client which will pay me more probably, and then abandon the other client probably, or outsource it. So it's basically, or just,
So
yeah, create something else
you
on the side.
so historically or usually what I've seen people in the creative professional space do and what I've done myself is we send out a notice. Hey everyone, our prices are rising because we just realized we get really good fucking results. Use some more professional language than that. Like we're getting really,
Mm,
or you could either, people go two ways. They go costs are rising or we're getting good at what we do. Usually you want to be saying I'm getting really good at what I do, you know? And we just to match the demand of people wanting us, we have to raise our prices. And then you usually follow it with this. Now we understand that some of you may not want to be paying these rising prices with us, and if that's the case, we totally understand. We've collected a list of information of other people who could do a good job of working for you. If you do want to stay with us, come on through here. And by the way, we're raising the prices on new clients right now, but for you, because you've been a loyal client, we won't do it for
yeah.
another 3 months. So you just say like, we're
Or
moving.
I'm raising my prices overall like higher, and for you I would go a little bit lower because we work
No,
together.
I would
That's
just
what
give
I
them a
did with the other client of mine.
okay.
I
You
did
could
this, but at the same time you cannot do this like every year, you know.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if you consistently keep getting insane values, right? And like that's what I
Mm.
mean. So like if you have that client, right? And every year they're going, oh god dang, Kiri, he keeps upping his prices every year, even like every 6 months. His 6 months, his prices have just gone up 10%, 20%, 50% here. And he goes, yeah, but did I make you more money than that? And they go, all right, I'll shut the
True.
fuck up. Like it's one of
Yeah.
those two things. Like so
True.
now I'll say one thing here as well, and then we'll probably like or actually, you know what? I'll ask if there's anything else you would like to cover because we'll probably have to end this up and wrap this up
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, yeah. Did we discuss outsourcing enough?
The one thing I would say, like when we talk about outsourcing, is and is again it varies dramatically between things. I just have to keep saying there's no silver bullet answer, but generally speaking, when you hire someone, they're usually getting paid a third of what they're making for the company per hour. And just because there's a lot of other things that go on top before they get paid. As an example, there's taxes, there's operating expenses for the company. So whether you're covering them or other things, and then there's just straight up costs, marketing, sales. Hey, I had to call these people. I had to build these relationships. I had to grab them and build their trust so they would say yes to me. Like those are all things that are part of the equation.
The third. So basically, if I'm the company and I'm charging 300, they will get paid 100 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it
You mean,
might
right?
not it might not be the right answer. If you're in a high cost industry, it could be less. If you're in a low cost industry, it could be
Could
more.
be
It
more.
just but
Yeah.
it's a good number to start with but look at your own numbers and see what they are. If you haven't looked at your own numbers, do that before you outsource. I mean, or do
Yeah.
it already if you have, but like look at your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
like know exactly how much it costs are per year, or at least what they're going to expected to be, what your revenue is, figure out your gross and nets. They're all really important.
Yeah, and also how the trust that they will provide the results that
Mm-hmm.
you provided to that client, right?
Yeah.
That the client expects from you. That is the
Yeah.
hardest part, like how to have a trust. And I don't want to make them a free test video because I don't like when someone asks me to do that. But to see that that editor or that person will provide.
So you're thinking hypothetically when you hire someone, like how do you trust that they're going to do a good job when you pay the money? So you got to have enough money coming in that you're just willing to risk it. So I
Mm,
don't do test or trial videos. I just say, hey, I'm going to hire you for one day and just see how it goes. So I'm going to give you some tasks and I'm just going to come back at the end of the day and I pay them for the day. And if they don't do anything and fuck off, they still get the money because it's less headache to just give them the money and ignore them. Great. They just lost a great working experience or they're just trying to scam people. But whatever. Who cares? You just, at the end of the day, you got to be making enough money that you can risk it. And that's another thing. That's why, like, there's all these little costs, right? Shit goes wrong. Who pays for it? The business, the person responsible for the project, right? So like if
mm,
the so that's kind of where like learning like how to say like where all this money's like flowing and how it goes. It's very complicated. And I think this is probably like a really interesting point to like leave to leave us thinking about this.
mm-hmm.
Do we want it?
Hmm.
Do we want the kerfuffle of managing numbers, managing risk, managing
Yeah.
profit, managing losses, managing editors who don't show up, but you still pay them so you don't have to deal with them? Like, like there's a lot of things you got to do and it's stressful and it sucks. But you know what? I'm just some sadistic motherfucker and I love it. And maybe you might like it too. But at the end of the day, it's just a
We'll
fun
see.
challenge. To me, it's just a fun
Yeah.
challenge.
True.
But
True.
if you go like, I hear all this and I'm like, I'm going to figure out a new way to do it, chances are you're not. It's
Mm,
very hard to avoid a lot of those issues in most kinds of things. There are ways to like alleviate and have less of it, and we never talked on it, but we won't talk on it this episode. But like, instead of niching down and charging more, there's another one you can do, which is selling assets. Assets is a
yeah.
different
Yeah.
kind of game. It's got its different. It's not that it's got less stress. It's just different, and it's a different flavor of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's more interesting because it's like you created something, then you promote it, then you make sure that you fix it, then you make it better, and it's somewhat more
As
interesting than working with like a middleman between a client and people and trying to fix everything and listening how the client is not happy and how your workers are not
there's a lot
understanding
of
the
people,
assignment
yeah.
and you're like what can I do here.
So
And
there's a lot of people stress in service. The stress in assets is completely different. So the best way I can put it is that the stress is a different flavor. You won't understand it until you do both. But I can say that the amount of stress you get is very different over time. So with service-based industries, I find you start with a lit like let's just say like when we first started, we probably called it a lot of stress, right? When you start a service, it's a lot of stress figuring out how to make it work, and then in the middle,
mm-hmm,
it's just kind of like it's like this middle level of stress. Not every day is super stressful, but there's consistently like you're gonna regularly get every now and then these days that just like suck. Clients
mm-hmm,
say something's not working, blah 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 blah. So the stress is kind of like it starts high and like it mellows out. It's a nice medium just for the rest of your life.
mm-hmm.
Assets, everyone thinks assets is stress free because they see the successful ones, and it's like there's just like, we're plateauing. Worst case scenarios, you customer asks for a refund, and you go, sure, here you go. That's your
Mm-hmm.
worst. That's your worst day, right? Um, with but that's not how assets work. Assets, if I said, if service is like a medium high at the
Yeah.
start, and like here, assets start all the fucking way off the camera. Like
Yeah.
they're like as so because there's marketing, there's development. Development goes wrong. Oh God, what do we do? It depending on what you're doing. Like if you're doing a template in Resolve, you could actually do that yourself. But if you're doing more than that, and that quite often that comes up as an idea. Actually, I'll even break it down like this, right? If you do a template in Resolve, sure, you can do it yourself, but now there's a lot of competition. So how do I get above the market? Now I've got to get in front of marketing, and how do I get my voice out, and how do I do this? So the way assets go is that there's just a lot of stress at the front, and if you can get over it, it gets easier. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of it. So it's like pick your flavor of stress. And if you don't have a lot of money saved or skills learned, like you're a high value individual who can make money really quickly, assets can be really tough to do. I would say for you, Kyrie, though, you do have a unique advantage in the fact you do have this YouTube channel that people are starting to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you can like create an asset that can be help monetize that channel is another question.
Yeah.
But like that's something we'll have to leave for another time. But I think if I ended on that thing about like, getting past that $3,000 ceiling
Yeah.
per month, generally speaking, if you don't, if you're not making enough money and you're like you got like a little savings, but like not a huge thing you can just throw at something, not even a huge, just like a small like handful of money you can throw to like hire people to do stuff, you probably want to stick to service. But it is situational and you want to look at yourself. But with service, you don't need money. Just to be clear, when I did my YouTube service thing, I paid $200 for the, like $140 for the course,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was like, and I looked at everything. I was like, okay, this one seems to be the most solid. I paid that. So the startup costs for the YouTube service, which is what launched me, was like $140 and a fuck ton of my time, like 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That was the startup costs. When you like, and you can do that with services because there isn't a lot of front loaded stress. It's just stress you learn over time. And when you do that, also you're going to learn a lot of things like how to sell, how to build relationships, how to actually do your skills good. And then it works out pretty well. When you get into assets, because it's so front loaded, if you don't have a lot of spare resources, which is time or money, it can be really hard to get that past
Yep.
a point where it's actually successful and not stressful.
It's really hard to get to the point when you actually start doing those, because you have a lot of ideas, you have a lot of thoughts. Right now, I understand that. Yeah, I can imagine so many useful things, and I can like even I already know what kind of macros I would create, macros or templates and stuff. But I'm trying to like earn more money right now and
Mhm.
like upgrade my computer and do stuff like that, and I need to record finally a new YouTube video about something, ideas, research, and so yeah, the thing is to get to that. That's the
Yeah. So
hardest one. And
we won't go
then
into specifically what you have
yeah.
left in the accounts, but this will be a good spot. It sounds like you want to get into assets. You want less stress, less people,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
more
yeah.
control. Cool. You can do that. Um what I would say there is like, so not only do assets have a front loaded stress, they take a lot of time to realize the money. If I spend 2 days editing a video, I make $300. If I spend 2 days making a template video, YouTube, putting it up, getting it shown, it might make $300 over a year,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
so the realized gains is also longer. So before you can start doing assets, you got to like, and we won't talk about what your money actually is because but the main thing is you need to have at least 6 months or ideally 12. But 6 months savings is a good amount because at least then you could say no to a
Saving.
project. Saving. Oh, okay. If you don't do savings, don't do assets.
All right,
Okay.
understood.
So,
Yeah,
so
savings first.
yeah, so savings is like literally the bee's knees of success. And people like, this is going to sound so stupid. What do you mean savings? No invest. Like
Nah,
seriously, when
I
you,
know
so here's the thing, right? Your head will be stuck in how do I make money tomorrow, not how do I make money in 6 months. The way
exactly
assets
what is
work,
happening at this moment.
yeah. So then we'll have to save that for another episode. But like we'll
Yeah,
save assets for when you're ready, when you've got the money, like the savings, and you got like, and what I mean by and the savings is specifically 6 months of expenses. That's what that means, right?
yeah,
And ideally, like 12 is actually the rule, but you can get away with 6 as long as you can pick up the work quickly after. If you can't, go to 12. Or if you got another one, if you got family who will support you, like, hey, like you, like I'm gonna sleep on your couch if everything goes to shit. You could do 6 months because if
Yeah,
everything went really bad, you could do that. I
yeah,
digress. Um,
yeah, yeah.
where do you think you're going? Before we like wrap this all up, where do you think your brain's taking you? Where do you think you're trying to scale past?
Yeah. You mean the amount of money, or
I
just
mean, how? Like, because again, there's
how?
no silver bullet, there's like a bunch of problem solutions. We
So
thought about like YouTube channel management, but that's obviously like too big of a step from just editing. So maybe we might look at ideation or thumbnails or.
so basically, my like what I feel with my gut is that I will definitely focus more on growing my YouTube channel and creating some educational stuff. I definitely want to create some sort of a course, although on my channel I kind of shit on all the courses, but I want to make a course that will not be, hey, make 10K a month as a video editor in 3 weeks. Yeah,
Hmm,
I want it to be like more helpful and realistic, and with actually something useful in terms of the most important things, the fastest way to get to a place. And
hmm,
actually, I learned a lot from the conversations like this with you, and yeah, in terms of what should that kind of course consist of.
yeah.
Assets, digital assets, also something that that I use on a daily basis. I can already see like how many things I would it would be so easier for me because I have experience and I work with it every day. I know what would help me. First of all, make those macros and plugins for me, and
Yeah.
then just yeah.
So, one thing I just want to make a disclaimer about when it comes to assets, I've made it sound like it's a super stressful and impossible thing to get started. That's not the case. You can start small and supplemental. So, if you do have enough money coming in where you can take 1 day a week off, or you're just going to work on the weekends, what you can do is while you're doing the editing, if you make any really cool fusion compositions, you could spend a day or three turning them into a template and then putting them up online, and you could make money through that. Basically, what you're doing is you're starting to supplement your revenue with assets. So you're not going full assets, but what you're doing is you're going to, okay, I'm going to make this asset and maybe it's going to sell well over the next 2 years. And from that, I can be a bit more picky with my editing clients because I know there's a little bit coming in from there. You could absolutely do that. And you can
Yeah,
also, by the way, use the value equation to figure out how to sell an asset. I'm going to make an asset. How much time does it save? How much time is that worth to the editor? Divide that by 10, great, you just 10x the value. That's kind of the thinking there.
something that I find valuable and important
Mm-hmm.
as a video editor, but eventually, I
Mm-hmm.
would love to transition. I hope that while doing that, I will be able to grow my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's a completely different niche, which is much more broad, much more
Mm-hmm.
general. And eventually, I would be able to create some educational material or also videos
Mm-hmm.
on how to do that with the perspective of a video editor who worked with other people who saw things
Mm-hmm.
how it should be, what are the best practices, what were different clients, and who succeeded, who did not, and why.
Mm.
Yeah, so transitioning from video editing, growth as a video editor, to growth like YouTube marketing and all
Mm.
that kind of stuff,
Essentially.
creating products around that. And
Yeah.
but at the same time, I would also, I understand that with this plan I will lose my
Mm.
clients and I will lose this editing job at some point.
Could
But
you could not. It's a slower thing than you expect. Like you will lose
yeah,
them, but it'll feel natural and good.
probably, yeah.
So
You see
usually, like,
so many things that you worry like when you're planning, and
mm.
because of that, you're not actually starting doing some actions and doing the thing. So
one of
yeah,
the one of the things I liked about this is I can see you've got a similar kind of energy where someone will put something in front of you and your brain will run a million miles and try and see how far they can take it. Like there's this
yeah.
constant need to see it. Similar to me, in that regards. Do make sure you have
ADHD.
a way of you want to ideate hot, commit cold. Just write
Yeah,
down every idea you have, hot, energetic, awesome. And I'm talking about big decisions, little things here and there, like I'm going to make a template for the day, whatever. But like, big decisions, sit down
yeah,
cold, like get really excited, write them all down, right? And you'll come back the next day and you'll read them. You go like, eh, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like that. That's the thing. You could even start really simple. I don't mean to try and like push advice because like it's not what it's for. It's just to have a conversation. Because again, everyone's path's different.
Yeah.
But from what I can hear with your clients, they're really busy. You do the editing for them. Right
Yeah.
now, the videos do okay, but sometimes they don't because they don't have enough time to care. Or like enough time to like commit and just do it properly. Not like care is not the right word. They do care. They don't have enough time to like sit down and really think what's going to make this the best, right?
Yeah. True.
Great. Go to them. Just you could go to them, go, hey, while I'm editing, make them some ideas. And just charge a little bit more money on top. And you could even come from a value perspective, like, hey, by simply getting these ideas right and getting the hook right, I'm going to come up with an idea and a hook. And you just got to follow it. We're going to
Yeah.
hopefully double, triple your views. I'm just doubling, tripling your results with, let's just call it an hour of research. You do an hour of research or 2 hours of research. Well, actually, when you first start, it'll be like 4 to 8 hours, and then you'll nail it down to about 1 or 2 once you get good at it. You would say, like, because I'm doubling your results, $600, double my editor rate. $600, I'll give you ideas, doubles the results.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be as easy as that. Like that whole conversation I said before of like reducing it because it's your first time and figuring it out. You want to be like that. But that's kind of the idea. So now while you're editing, making $300, $150 a day, $300 a day, sometimes you sell an idea package and you make that amount of money in an hour. Great.
Yeah.
Now you got 7 hours to make an asset and you just keep going up like that.
Yeah. More responsibility, but more
Yep.
money.
That's it. All the responsibility means all the money. That's how it works. Are you responsible for results?
That's a good one. That's a good quote.
Yeah.
That's
Are
a pretty
you
good one.
let's leave it on this. I know we said let's
Yeah.
leave it on this like 4 fucking times and we're going into a 4
All
hour
the
podcast.
responsibility, all the money. Let's leave it on that one. That one, yeah, actually, I really love.
Yeah. That's all good. We'll talk more about that as well later on. It was really good. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Kyrie, for being here.
Thanks.
I hope I've
Thanks,
left your
Orson.
brain buzzing with where you can take it.
Yeah, I have a lot on my mind right now. Yeah. Thank you,
All right,
Orson.
too
All
easy.
right. See you.
Catch you, bro. Bye.
Yeah, bye.